Today, we are officially like a little less than a month away.
We're so close.
From the launch of Nintendo Switch 2. Woo! So we are going to be putting down some of our very bold predictions about this launch. What are the headlines saying? What are the Metacritics? Will there be any surprises? Who are the winners and losers? Gonna do it right now. Are you ready?
I just feel like Nintendo's done the big push of getting ready for the Switch 2. There might be a little trickle of things here or there, but I think we have enough to work with to really like put this launch under a microscope and talk about how we think it's gonna go.
Yes, I'm excited though.
I'm too.
I think this is the first time we've like predicted the outcomes of a launch. I'm doing this with my hands.
What are you doing right now? What is this gesture?
This is the launch dance.
Magic?
Magics.
Magics?
But yes, I'm excited. I feel like this is a good time for us to do this video and like lock in some of these things and see, well, like kind of guess what we think, how people are going to be reacting.
You can't do it the week before. It's basically cheating.
Too late.
No.
I'm still holding out hope for my precious third-party direct.
Well, I've got something to say about that
so
too.
We'll see. But it is true. We are getting very excited. Every day I feel a little antsy.
Oh, really?
A little tickle of excitement. It's really fun though.
Good.
Are you having fun?
I'm having a great time.
Are you really?
Yes, I am.
You seem like you're not as excited as I am.
What?
Hop off, why not?
Jeez. I'm on blast already. Come on now. Stop it.
In our excitement, we did do a fun video where we kind of looked at any last lingering questions we may have had about.
Now I'm going to put you
Switch
on
2.
blast. I said, I think we should do this video about these unanswered questions. What do you have? I don't know.
Well, I needed to think about the questions that were.
You were like, I think this is a great idea. We should do it. And I said, well, what are your unanswered questions? You're like, I don't have any. Great.
Well, the problem is.
What's the problem?
I'm pointing at you like this.
I made the problem, apparently.
The problem is that the information has been so like scattered
Yes.
that it's been a little bit hard for us to find whether or not these questions were unanswered at all.
As they say, you just got to do your own research. No problem.
I was doing research. I was researching deeply. I was deep in the Google Minds.
Oh, okay.
Researching. Deep in a Reddit thread. Researching.
Well, these are things where it's good for them to give you a definitive answer.
Yeah.
Because there are some things that you could be doing now that, like me.
Preparing.
That I'm like, maybe I'm not going to do that because I don't know definitively. So maybe if they tell me in the next 4 weeks, I'll do it. If not, maybe I'll just wait.
Just wait, exactly. Yeah. It is true. It's like one of those things where like some of these things you kind of want to know so you can properly get ready. Some of the things, it'd just be nice to get an official answer. Yes, I know.
Why aren't people asking Nintendo?
You should ask Nintendo. I know that people like are saying like, oh, but so many people have done videos about these questions. Like, I know that, but they're not Nintendo.
But they're still not definitive answers. It's
exactly.
It's a best guess.
It's a speculation.
A lot of
best
people
guess.
are making informed guesses.
But that's not Nintendo's official
But
answer.
it's not 100% for certain.
Until I hear it from the horse's mouth, as they say. I shan't be doing some of the things that I've been planning to do.
All right.
You know?
All right.
Anyhow.
Fair
enough.
enough.
That video's out.
Yes.
As you're listening to this podcast, we are actually in Boston at PAX East. I hope.
I hope we made it there.
Unless something went terribly wrong. We do have like the world's earliest flight to Boston. We're both dreading it.
We got a rough morning ahead of us.
Yeah, we're recording this on Tuesday, and our flight is Wednesday, but like at 6 a.m.
It's at 7 a.m. because apparently there's now only 2 flights a day between these 2 large cities.
Though?
I don't know why.
So weird.
And that is also the first day that they're enacting these new like security requirements, which we are ready for.
We're ready.
But I'm like, a lot of people probably are not.
Ready?
And is that going to create another hassle in this line at 5 in the morning, which I don't need? And then on top of that, I got a notification. It's like, there is a lot of construction happening at the airport.
Told me that.
Give yourself extra time to get to the terminal. It's like, I can't. I'm already waking up at 4 something.
Time.
So if you see some very tired people that look like us at PAX in Boston, that it probably is us. But please still come and say hi.
We'll try to be nice.
Yes. I guess by now our panel may or may not have happened by now. Check it out. We're going to be including that as a segment in next week's podcast.
Yes.
If you haven't been able to check it out yet.
Yes. Very exciting. May is upon us, as we know.
Yeah.
And in May, the big news, if you haven't heard, is that the San Francisco Nintendo store is opening.
We're going.
On May 15th, and we're going. We're not shadow banned, as we had suspected.
Well, not yet. Again, there's always still time.
There's a chance for them to cancel
Still time to cancel your pre-order, cancel your reservation.
Just cancel everything. Ban us
Kick
for
down
life.
this door and take you away. Put a bag over your head.
Take me away?
Not me, though. No.
Why me?
You've said many more inflammatory things than me. Huh?
You're the one that's a criminal.
For what?
Stealing people's hearts and.
Oh.
Oh, wow. I don't know where I was going.
Oh, wow. Oh. I'm somewhat flattered now. Okay.
Any moment now the ninjas are coming to steal us away. But until then, we are waiting patiently for the San Francisco store to open.
We have the reservations, though.
We do have the
That's the important
reservations.
thing.
We are going on opening day, May 15th.
Somehow the way they did the reservations, we cannot go in together. It's like one person.
Yeah, you can't
groups.
do like a family reservation.
No.
You can only do it on the 16th through the 18th, but we, of course, wanted to go as early as possible. So we opted to go on the 15th. We were able to get the reservation, which was good, but I think you have an earlier one.
I'm going in first, and I guess I'll see you later after that.
I know.
Because I'm leaving.
We'll part ways. We were thinking about doing like a fun, maybe we'll just make this situation into like a fun like video of some kind where we like surprise each other with stuff from the store or something like that. Yeah.
It's right before your birthday, as you tell me almost daily.
I want you to just give me your credit card.
And as a result, I've just started forgetting daily because like, oh, she'll probably remind me.
Can I have your credit card as a shopping and do a shopping spree?
We have a company credit
not
card.
That one.
No, that's
give me your personal credit card.
I don't
Why
think
not?
So. Can't have it.
I'm your best friend.
Sorry.
You wouldn't give me your personal credit card?
No, sorry.
I wouldn't give you mine either. Anyways.
Let's get on with predicting the Switch 2 launch, but first, we have a wonderful sponsor to shout out, and the sponsor is Raycon.
Thank you, Raycon.
Forget Mother's Day, that's in the rearview mirror. We're talking about Father's Day now. And dads do all sorts of great things for us, and Father's Day is a great time to show our dads that they deserve the best, but at a price that even they will be impressed by. That's
dads are very frugal.
That's the thing about dads. They're very cautious. I appreciate this gift, but how much did you pay for this?
That's so true. Yeah. That's such a dad thing to say, no? Yeah.
Yes. Don't pay too much. No, and Raycon have some incredible things. We're talking about the everyday earbuds, which give dad a great chance to relax, recharge, enjoy. These are earbuds that we use. I don't know about you, I use these daily.
I do. I do use mine daily. I have been using them daily for probably over 2 years now, which is kind of incredible. And they have just been so easy to use. Hold a charge for like the longest time ever. I'll be taking them on the airplane to PAX.
Oh, good.
So that I can block you out, which would be great. But it's great. 32-hour battery life, super comfortable in the ears. They don't fall out. And they also have some really nice colors so you can like customize to your own style.
Right, and again, they will stay in your ear.
Yeah.
My dad, when I was young, he would always on the weekend be doing something in the yard. And he would always have these clunky old things, listen to some baseball game, and they would always fall off, and I would hear like vague shouts and swearing of the thing fall. These will stay in your ear.
And
no more of that.
It's very like classy looking for dad.
Make dad happy comes in all sorts of cool colors. So check them out. Go to buyraycon.com/KitandChris to get 15% off site-wide. And right now, Raycon is offering up to 15% off site-wide when you go to buyraycon.com/KitandChrista. Again, that is buyraycon.com/KitandChrista.
Put the link over here with a QR code for you to scan and also in the description below. Okay.
All right, predicting the Switch 2 launch. There are some topics where we have to go off of our main shared podcast documents.
Don't look.
We have our personal secrets.
Yes, my document is titled Krysta's Secret Document, all caps, do not look.
Which I'm about to password protect mine because I know you're daily snooping. What do you got in here now?
I know you're snooping.
What do you have in here now?
One time I went in your doc to like pull some pictures that you had, and you were like, "What are you doing in there?"
I saw you.
You saw my little.
Yeah, because I was waiting.
to catch me?
With a trap, yes. I was ready to trap you.
It was a trap.
Yeah, I don't need to go into yours. I don't need to see your bad predictions, whatever.
Hey, these are fantastic
Lame
predictions.
stuff that you've got in there.
So good.
All right, where's a good place to begin with this? I think a fun little exercise could be, we've each written some sample headlines to kind of sum up the vibe, the feel.
I love this.
We also asked our Patreon people to do this. We'll check in on theirs later.
I love this exercise. So fun.
Okay. We're in the newsroom now.
We're in the newsroom. We're like IGN. We are the Wall Street Journal.
Before we read these, what is the outlet that you are, inspiriting as you were writing these headlines? Because they're going to come across differently depending on who's writing.
So I do have one that's for like more of like a big gaming site, like a Dexerto, like an IGN. Like that kind of entertainment-y game site.
Right.
And then I have one that is more of like, more of like a New York Times Wall Street
Mainstream.
Journal,
Yes.
mainstream,
Yes.
like that kind of like,
Okay.
or maybe even like a more business kind of paper.
Okay.
Forbuses.
Uh-huh.
Or something like that.
Yeah.
Just there's could be different sizes.
Yeah.
Why don't you go first?
Okay.
Your first
Okay.
one.
I have 3 actually.
Okay.
How many do you have?
I have 3 as well, but
Okay.
2 are quite similar. So.
All right, I'll read my. I think I was trying to envision myself as like a Gene Park type person.
Oh, you're Gene Park.
Who's writing for a more mainstream
Yeah.
Outlet, but is also very
Like embedded
like
in the game
super
industry.
plugged in, like
Yeah.
super in the know, knows his stuff, but needs
Yeah.
to kind of make this stuff understandable to maybe more of a layperson.
Yeah, you're not dropping any Shire bombs or anything in your headlines, are you?
No.
Okay, good.
First one. A bigger, better Nintendo Switch is here, but is it for everyone? That's my first. There's a way that people write headlines now that I don't know if you've picked this up on. It's always this 2-parter.
Yeah, it's like the opposite is the second part. It's like one part is the positive and one part is the
I
negative.
really don't like this though. Like,
Well, that's how you get the clicks.
it's like you smarmy little. Like when I read these, it comes across as very smarmy, but clearly this is what works. This is what gets people.
because it makes it interesting
read
for
through?
you to see both
Right.
sides.
But I kind of like threw up in my mouth as I was doing, so I was like, oh, I really don't like this.
Did you ever do speech and debate as
No,
a kid?
no, I
That's
didn't.
kind of like what that is. I think that's the human instinct that
I would have
people
been too
play.
good.
Yeah, right. Okay, so mine is
All
kind
right,
of
yes.
similar. Nintendo Switch 2 is off to a strong start, but will it have the longevity of the original Switch?
Okay,
So, around like,
it's a bit wordy.
it's a little wordy.
That's what you always say to me. I've proposed a YouTube title that's 3 words long, and you're like, could be shorter. Sorry?
The title is Nintendo Switch 2.
Yeah. All right. My next one. With new Mario Kart, the Switch 2 charts a bold new parentheses and expensive path for Nintendo.
Oh.
So again, we're kind of balancing some good and maybe some not so good here.
My other one is very similar to yours. Nintendo's success with Switch 2 raises the ceiling on video game pricing industry-wide.
But not the roof? Is it raising the
Raises
roof?
Okay, you're really aging yourself.
We just did it! I just said it.
Aging yourself.
You're
right
like
now.
afraid to do it.
I'm not gonna do it.
You're not going to do it.
Gen Z.
Right.
You're not Sigma at all right now, actually.
My last one. Nintendo's Switch 2 proves if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Oh!
That's my last headline.
Mine is Nintendo breaks records with the Switch 2 launch, but only time will tell if it has lasting power.
I like that one. That one's good.
That's pretty good.
Okay.
That's pretty good, huh?
So what are kind of your key, what are you getting at with these headlines?
What I'm getting at is that there is quite a bit of excitement as we have
Yes.
seen. It's been talked about that pre-orders are completely sold out. This is Furukawa has come out to say that we're getting unprecedented amounts of interest in the My Nintendo store. Like, oh lordy, like, are we going to have enough stock? There is absolutely palpable excitement in the air, but I think my question, and I truly believe only sort of time will tell, is will it have sort of the long life cycle that Switch 1 has? Can it sustain interest and sales for that long? So that's one of my big questions about this launch is Switch really came out at a very optimal time. A lot of things in the world happened during the life of Switch 1. It's going to be a different world, obviously, for the life of Switch 2. So it's just going to be an interesting path to see where this thing lands eventually when it's stable, when all the excitement kind of stabilizes out.
It's always tricky for these media outlets to try and cover the launch of a system because I think they're trying to like read a bit into the future.
You're kind of looking at a crystal ball.
Like we were going back. I told you, like, do you remember when IGN reviewed the Switch hardware? And you're like, no, they don't do that, but we found it. And what did they give? Like a 7?
7, yeah.
I think that's the joke that IGN gives everything.
A 7.
A 7, because maybe they do.
Safe. It's a safe number.
But yeah, like I think they're really like trying to look into a crystal ball of like, well, in 5 to 7 years, what are we going to be here? So I think that's kind of always how these outlets are looking at that.
Yeah.
Why again, like I do think the launch itself is going to be very big and very positive, and people are going to be really happy. But I think if you're trying to really like analyze it, like I do think there are, you know, a handful of little details. It's that there are questions that are fair to ask. Like, you know, is it going to be as mass a product as the Nintendo Switch?
Exactly.
You know, is the price going to be a hindrance for people? Is it fresh and new enough, or is it fine that it's just kind of a continuation of something that we've already had? I think those are fair questions to ask, and I think those would be things that we see commonly in what people are saying.
And also, you know, what would be interesting to see long term is whether or not it continues to expand Nintendo's audience. Like the Switch did so much to do that, and now Nintendo has other ways to expand their audience through all these entertainment things too. So they may not need Switch 2 to do that job,
Yeah.
and so they might not be as focused on it as they were in the Switch 1 generation. So it's a different, like almost like a different business model.
Right.
For them. And I'm just like very curious and just really fascinated, honestly, to see how it all plays out in the years to come. Is the Switch 2 audience going to be like kind of only the most core Nintendo Switch fans, only those people that are so excited at launch, bought out all the pre-orders? Is that the audience, or does it go beyond that?
Yes.
And is Nintendo even interested in going beyond that, you know? So yeah, there's a lot to, I think, kind of dissect here, and it is a bit of a, you know, look into a crystal ball and see what the future holds. But I think these are all really valid questions about, like, a thing that is coming as a successor to a very successful other thing. So
Now, as our Gen Z correspondent,
Oh, yes.
I have to ask why you even started writing a news headline at all, and not
should have just done a TikTok
like,
dance.
What do you? I mean,
about Switch 2.
I mean, there are often differences in how, like, again, like, you know, big media outlets cover and talk and think about things versus like
Yeah.
people, you know, representing these like for the masses type
Yeah.
of things. Like, do you think the conversations are going to be different there?
Yeah, I feel like in this sort of like landscape of how people consume information, and yeah, you're totally right. Like it's beyond like reading a news article or even like the way that, you know, news articles show up on social media or other places to get their stuff across is like different nowadays. So I do wonder if there's going to be like things about the system or even like memes and surprises that come out that like take over the conversation. Like that could be very possible and really fun. Like that
Right.
kind of stuff is like really interesting. If someone like has a moment with it and it goes viral or whatever, like that can become like the big story.
Right. That was I had some miscellaneous things, and that was one of the things that I had was that there will be something that becomes like a big like high level meme, and
Yeah.
I think Mario Kart, like something along the lines of the Luigi death stare, is like
Yeah,
something
it's
that
very possible.
even more than the cow like that we've seen so far.
cow.
Like it would be like another echelon from that. But
Yeah.
yeah, like I think like especially when this thing comes out, like we've already seen it, but like I think people should just be careful of like people trying to bait into these like fanboy console war discussions of like, oh, it's not as powerful as a PS3, like these kinds of things where it's like you're not even taking this conversation seriously.
You're just
So
trying to like do the thing that
It's bait.
causes people exactly.
it's a
causes people
trap,
anger.
yes,
It's
all
a
of
trap.
that to get people to click. But yeah, it's like a lot of those conversations end up like veering a little bit more into like how am I justifying a decision? Like, oh, it definitely is worth $80 because I spent $80 and I need to prove it to myself.
Yeah.
You know,
Copium for yourself.
right? You see people kind of like, you know, or I didn't get it, and here's why I'm right to not get it. Like,
Yeah, I'm skipping this generation. Here's
what-
why.
exactly.
I see that all the time.
Right.
Yeah.
So a lot of stuff can kind of veer more into those categories. So I think that's just a general like point for everybody watching
Yeah.
or listening is like kind of be careful about kind of some of the stuff there. It's like honestly not worth. It's not going to be worth your
You're
time.
just gonna make yourself annoyed
You're just going to get mad
You're just
yourself.
gonna get mad,
And
yeah.
but that's what they want you
to do in the
to
first
do.
place.
To do
Yeah.
right.
It's so true.
That's just kind of like a fact of anything big that's happening. There's always somebody. I was like, oh, everybody loves this. I'm going to be the one who says
To hate
that I
it,
hate
yeah.
it.
And there's probably going to be somebody that's kind of big that
Yeah.
goes out to say
Right.
be that person
Yeah.
to you know volunteer as tribute, as it were,
Right.
to you know be that descending you know voice or whatever. And that always happens with any big launch. Like among the general people that love it, and also know that a lot of the stuff that you see out there when it comes to big launches like this is like the vocal minority, and there's so many people that are like quietly enjoying their stuff or quietly skipping this generation or whatever that you're never going to hear from. So you really are going to get this like small percentage of like the extremes, like people that are just hype for hype's sake, and then people that are being negative for negativity's sake.
Yeah, that is kind of
cognizant of
like
that,
an interesting fact of like modern life is like if you're doing a thing and enjoying it, like you often can't just enjoy it for its own sake. It's like, well, I got to get this takeoff now. I got to fire this off.
Yeah.
I got this hot tweet or whatever that I got to get out into the world. It's like, well, maybe we could all just go a little more offline and enjoy this thing that we've been waiting for so long.
And people are very quick to like judge others, I think too. Like everybody is entitled to their opinion. People are, at least for us, like we try to be very honest and very real with how we're feeling in the moment for certain things, and people can take it however they want, but it's like just take a deep breath and let people have their own thoughts, without you like jumping on them.
It is true that since this thing got announced, like it's like there's been some like tension around it, where it's like you can feel getting like the vibrations in the air, like we're getting close.
Yeah.
And I think like this will be like the culminating point of this thing finally coming out.
It's true.
So we may see more of that out there, just as like an eruption of this built up something that people have inside them for the last couple months.
There is something that's very different about this launch that I've been feeling. I don't know if it's because we're on the outside for this one for the first time. I'm feeling a sense of like great excitement that I haven't felt before ever. Just being part of like the fervor of like learning things for the first time and getting mad, with everybody else, and then not being mad and getting excited to get a pre-order. Like I'm like living it with everyone, and it's been really fun. But I do feel like there is this sense of like, I don't know, there's like a lot of positivity, but also like this lingering negativity as well. And I just get the sense that like people are just like ready to like jump on to whichever side they are basically like grasping onto. And there's just a lot of, I don't know, like tension and a bit of like pent up energy around that.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
But I do think like that energy does point to this being like a super big launch, and maybe that's a good jumping off point to like talk a bit about more some specifics. But like it just shows that people care in a really big way.
Yes,
and
passionately
care. We've seen examples where it's like I don't care. Like
the worst thing that can happen is no one talks about it at all.
Yeah.
Right? Like everyone's just like whatever. This doesn't affect me one way or the other, but when you have like highs and lows, that means that people are spending their energy caring.
Right.
So.
I have a couple other more just like miscellaneous predictions that maybe lead into some of our bigger discussions. I do get the sense that Nintendo is true to their word and making a lot of these.
Yeah.
And we saw the pre-orders happen, but even then after that, there were some lingering pockets. Like I do think this is something that, is going to maybe seem to be sold out in the moment, but I think you might be able to get it kind of through that weekend in small pockets here and there of like, oh my God, this Best Buy has a couple more, like, oh, they have some in the back, be sure to ask. Like, it just feels like Nintendo maybe is going to actually live up to the promise of, we know, like maybe some individual channels are going to be exhausted, but there might still be ways to get it if you didn't get a pre-order, if you didn't stand out and camp out in line the night before, is a feeling I have.
The thing that was really encouraging for me when this whole pre-order madness was happening is we did hear so many stories, anecdotal stories of people that were able to physically like walk into a GameStop in their lunch break and get a pre-order pretty easily. So it does seem like the systems are sort of out there.
Yeah.
You may need to find some different ways of getting it. Yes, you might have to stand in a line, launch day or a midnight launch or kind of track where stock is going to be available and get in line, when it's available. But it definitely doesn't feel like it's going to be like after this, if you didn't have a pre-order, you would have to wait like months and months and months and months to be able to get one again.
Right.
So, I do think that Nintendo is prepared in some ways for this. I am encouraged that they have the My Nintendo store. We still don't know May 8th has not come yet, so we still actually don't know what that situation is going to feel like.
Right.
But just because, just so that the fact that they have their own channels is encouraging. And that if you are lucky enough to live close to a Nintendo store, I think they'll have it.
Yeah.
I think they'll have it.
Yeah. Unlike you, I don't think we're getting any more announcements until after this thing comes out.
Okay.
I think they just don't need to, and I think it's like, well, right now we're focused on the launch, and we've got a really great launch lineup, so let's have everybody focus on that for the next month, and then in June, like, there's so many opportunities for more.
Yeah.
I think more third parties will be announcing their thing, because we have Summer Game Fest, we have the Xbox event.
Early June.
The mid to late June Nintendo Direct, which they've been doing.
That's gonna be a big thing.
I think I see a good reason for them to do that. Like, hey, this thing's out. Now we can give you more details. Like, here's the Metroid Prime launch date. So I think that is kind of what is, to me right now, making more sense.
Yeah.
Versus something happening right now, because they've got a great launch lineup. They don't need to do more. I think that's going to be kind of a theme of them really like pacing themselves through this generation versus like empty the clip. It's like, no, we're going to do just the right amount to reach our goal, and we're going to save more for the next thing that's coming, so that we can continually do that over 8 years.
Yeah, if they're really concerned about making sure it does have longevity, that would be a good strategy for them to have.
And then lastly, I think this is something that we saw happen more and more when we were there. Is I don't think a lot of people are going to be getting units from Nintendo for review.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So that's going to be an interesting case for the people who are reviewing these, of how are they reviewing the hardware and all the launch games. If, like, for example, IGN might get 2 units between pre-launch.
Yeah,
like
if that.
We saw like these lists contract so much over our years, and it was just like there was always like different reasons. One time it was like, oh, we need to sell as many as we can. Like, we can't we have to prioritize these going to retail. Like, okay, and then it was the fear of leaks and all of that. So I think for all of these reasons, it's just going to be a very streamlined list, and like the people who get these are going to be really like the top people who Nintendo trust the most. Don't count on a lot of content creators.
I don't think
not
any.
Getting any they might get that box day one.
Day one, yeah.
But before then,
well, even then, it's probably a very tiny list.
Exactly.
Of people even getting anything from Nintendo day one.
Exactly.
So it will be a different landscape of that.
So again, like I have some thoughts coming up around how the limited might impact the perception of certain features or certain games, because there's just not going to be a lot of people out there who are having these things pre-launch and sharing that experience for a system that they're billing as like, oh, it's so social, connect with everybody, play with everybody, do all these things. Like, that group is going to be like
pretty small,
pretty isolated.
And I think it's just that just means it's going to take a bit more time for these opinions to form.
Right.
It's going to take time after launch, in the months after launch, for people to really figure out like, okay, this feature is so much more than I expected, or this thing was as dumb as I expected it to be, or I never saw myself using XYZ in this way. Like those kinds of impressions that you might be hoping to get day one, you're likely not going to get any of that stuff.
Right. And I also wonder, again, like if you're talking about these media outlets, like a lot of them have just been stripped to the bone over the last couple years. So
if not all fired.
Is there IGN is probably the exception, but even they're probably a bit more streamlined or focused on other things than they were. So like, what kind of depth can you go into? Or again, if you're poor Gene Park and you have a Switch and 20 review games at your footstep,
boy.
I mean, Gene Park's good at prolifically playing these games and getting through these games, but I wouldn't expect to get his detailed thoughts on the full launch lineup. Like, he has to focus on the big stuff at a certain. He's got to cut it off at a certain point. Like, I'll get back to you later on the rest.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's just the reality of the situation. So so there might be a bit of a lag almost in terms of immediate deep impressions, as everyone is kind of in the same boat in terms of like experience it together.
Yeah.
But that actually might be kind of fun too, honestly. Like,
sure.
I think that's where you get like the big fun memes, and people are kind of all having this. It's like, again, I always bring it back to that. exciting few months, year plus of Breath of the Wild when we were all like living in a virtual schoolyard together and we were all having these moments together.
Yeah.
I can see that being part of this launch just by way of Nintendo being so tight on their allocation of review, systems and things like that.
Do you want to talk about winners and losers coming out of the launch?
I do.
All right. Give us either a winner or a loser here.
One of the winners I have is definitely our third-party developers with launch titles. They are, I think, going to be, they obviously see the value of being able to put their game on a Nintendo platform to reach a Nintendo audience, but I think they're going to be like even more excited and probably not surprised, but just excited to see their audience expand immensely from being a part of a Nintendo platform. So all of these third parties with games on launch day, I think they're going to be like over the moon happy with how many people are going to be experiencing their games for the first time because they've simply not had any of the other platforms. So
Right. Yeah, it is interesting that some in the past we've seen these examples of third parties maybe getting the wrong read on a system because of the way that they're releasing a game, like EA putting out Madden on the Wii U several months after they already released it on other platforms. Everybody already played it. A lot of these games, again, have been out on other platforms.
Yeah.
So, you wonder, which of these has the Switch audience not completely embraced yet? Like, it seems like Cyberpunk is poised to be one of the big winners out of the third-party lineup.
Absolutely.
Because it's a great game. They've really ingratiated themselves to Nintendo fans. They've been waving the flag of physical games. They seem to have put in the work to really get the most out of the hardware. But yeah, it'll be interesting to go through the list and see what were the big beneficiaries. Did the game key cards hurt anybody?
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll see. All that stuff.
That's all, wait and see kind of situation.
Right. No duh for me. I have Mario Kart World as a big winner.
Okay.
I think it's underrated that we haven't seen Nintendo at its biggest and best for a couple years, probably since Tears of the Kingdom.
Right.
And maybe people have forgotten how
just
special.
Been a little complacent.
And it's been over 10 years since we had the big new Mario Kart experience, and I think people are going to be really dazzled at that kind of Nintendo magic, seeing it once again.
Yeah.
I have yet to see a single bad impression of this game from anybody who's actually played it. The people who've actually played it at those hands-on events seem absolutely dazzled by this game. And all of the sort of lingering questions that we had of, what can you do in the open world? Or is there enough meat to this battle mode? Or all these other, the characters, is the character selection kind of weird? You don't see anybody talking about any of that for the people who have actually played it. So I think it's going to be a big wow. Oh my gosh, we're going all out Nintendo kind of game that, again, had been a few years since we've gotten. I think that's just going to be a magical experience to finally have it back on a new system.
Yeah. One of my other winners is the retailers, and especially GameStop.
Thank goodness somebody's looking out for them.
Especially GameStop.
Oh,
I think GameStop literally changed their reputation with this launch. Everybody had been hating on GameStop for a long time. Yes, they still have their problems, but they've really come out to being a big winner overall. They've had the smoothest, in-person pre-orders. Everyone is saying how great that experience, you yourself included, has been. Seems like, they're just poised to have a very positive launch overall.
Yeah.
With, sort of a back to the bread and butter excitement of a basic hardware launch. They know how to do that because they've done that for ever. So they're good at that. This is their wheelhouse, and they're certainly doing a good job. And I mean, I say this with a little bit of snark too. The retailers, in terms of they will sell out of their stuff immediately. They will blow through their allocation if they not have blown through it already during pre-orders, and they're going to make a lot of money. So they win. Even if we were not at GameStop and we had a bad experience, it doesn't matter because they still.
Is My Nintendo going to be a big winner?
They'll probably sell their stuff.
We don't know yet.
We don't. I mean, the winning is not because you had a good experience. The winning is that they made money off of you, and they're going to make money off of you, regardless of your experience. And so, yeah, that is, that is the reality of an exciting big launch, is that like they get to reap the benefits of that.
Right.
Yeah.
My next winner is the GameCube games. I think we've talked about the GameCube being kind of the start of a different era for Nintendo, where the games feel a bit more modern, and we've seen a lot of GameCube games get remade and kind of get this big push of like, oh my gosh, this game still holds up, like, Metroid Prime or Resident Evil or all of the above. And knowing that these games are going to look a little bit sharper, a little bit better, knowing that online is going to be added to some of these.
Yeah.
I think it's like,
Soul Calibur.
I mean, F-Zero GX, like, that game looking better and having online, it's like, what more could you want out of an F-Zero game? That, I mean, frankly, not that many people played this game on the GameCube, so like I think that's going to be incredible. Like, yeah, we were just playing Soul Calibur. It's like, oh my gosh, this game.
They add online.
Yeah, it's like
so fun.
If only this game looked slightly better and had online. Like,
it's like, oh wait, they're going to do that.
There's not really much more that I could want. So I think people are going to be like, oh yeah, like this is actually a really big add, and at that point it becomes a question of, well, what else are you adding and how quickly, and things like, so then what is your plan for remaking these versus just putting them on NSO? We don't know.
Yeah.
That's a question for down the road, but I think again on day one, I think people are going to be looking at this
They're
of like,
satisfied.
oh wow, this is a really substantial addition to NSO, because they want people to keep their subscription, they want people to upgrade.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, you've actually added something that is a really
like
big,
pretty high value.
It's a really high value thing. That we just didn't have before. So I think that'll be really well received.
Yeah. This is a very obvious winner, but Nintendo is a winner.
Wow.
You
went out on a limb.
I really went out on a limb here. I do think that it's very true that this launch has been a bit rocky for them. There's been some highs and lows. There's been some... It hasn't been the smoothest launch.
Yeah.
We've been there when it's a very smooth launch, and we've been there when it's really not. So this is definitely falls into like that sort of... Not completely negative, obviously, but definitely there's some rocky moments. They had some challenging things, some messaging gaffes and other things that they were working through, especially in the early weeks of this launch. But honestly, I don't think this outcry of negativity will affect their sales that much, if at all.
At launch.
Yeah. And I think they will be breaking some records, in terms of like stuff like fastest selling hardware. That's a record they're probably going to break. They'll be doing some sort of release, touting those numbers. So it is going to be a very successful launch for them.
Next video title: Has Nintendo learned the wrong lessons from the Switch 2 launch? Frowny face in the thumbnail. There you have it.
We'll just screenshot
look
that
for that.
with the thumbnail.
Look for that next week.
But yeah, I mean, that is kind of like the Pokemon effect, as they say, where no matter how much you yell and scream and cry and have a tantrum, they're going to be making money off of you.
Right. My last winner, I just have the hardware overall, which again, this is the other thing coming out
on a limb too.
Coming out of those events. Like again, I've seen nobody say a single bad thing about the hardware coming out of those events, and I've been watching those closely. So it does seem like they took a piece of hardware that people already liked, they made it bigger, they made it better.
What else can you ask?
Sounds great to me.
Yeah.
So
someone will have to like stress test the thing, right?
And I mean, again, once people do a teardown of the Joy-Con and they, oh no, this is going to drift in a month, or
drift.
something like that. Maybe that'll be a different story.
Give it to like a toddler and have that toddler like throw the thing around. For a while and see if it's durable.
I think overall people will be really happy with the hardware. Losers. This is perhaps more interesting.
This is more interesting.
Losers. So the one I want to lead with here. I think Game Chat is going to be a big loser out of the gate, and let me tell you why.
You're not convinced?
Listen, I just talked about the limited number of people who are going to be having systems in that kind of review period. What kind of Game Chat? How are they supposed to be testing out Game Chat?
I don't know.
Are they supposed?
Are they going to let them go online even?
Well, is online going to be available, or is that going to be a day one patch?
It might be a day one patch.
A lot of times, like that stuff does not work until the very end. So either there's a scenario where online is not working yet, they don't have access to it at all, Or you're kind of playing with like some random people, like, oh, I'm forced to do game chat with, this other person.
Maybe a Nintendo person.
It's not the same though. It's not fun. It's not the same kind of fun, casual.
You don't think Corey Olsberry from the Treehouse is fun?
Hang outy
on a game chat.
These are people you want to know well. There's like layers of engagement.
This is where your social anxiety is really rearing its head.
Playing an online game with voice chat, playing an online game with like with a camera on, with a random person with a camera on. It's like I'm actually not having fun anymore.
You are just getting sweaty thinking about this.
So I'm not talking about like once it's out. I'm talking about like, again, in the big, like the Switch 2 is here, things that we're going to be seeing. Mm-hmm. I don't know what they're going to have to say about this.
I just don't think people are going to be using it at all.
Yeah.
Like whether or not it works or not, I just don't think this is the top of their list in terms of an experience they are excited to try. They're going to be playing Mario Kart like a normal person, They're going to be like tearing apart the hardware if they're like that kind of outlet or that kind of content creator. They're going to be doing like others. They're going to be like mining Mario Kart for memes. They're not going to be using game chat to like talk to their niece or whatever. Like that's not really I don't think that's not like on people's like number one checklist thing.
But again, considering this seems very high on Nintendo's list of features to push, it does not, something we used to look for is the key message pull through.
Yes.
This is
a
deep communications science, which is you are putting out your key messages, how much of what either, the written content or the videos that people are making, how often are people talking about those key messages kind of in the priority that you have? I don't think they're going to achieve high key message pull-through with game chat.
I don't think so
unfortunately.
And game chat was their number one key message. It wasn't even
It was up there.
It wasn't even a supporting message. It was the number one thing that they were talking about. You saw it too in that Paul Rudd commercial.
Yes.
The commercial was focused on game chat. This is the number one thing Nintendo is...
Yeah. Look at that commercial. Look at the direct. Look at the Ask the Developer.
Look at the quotes coming out of any interview from any of those spokespeople. The number one thing they say is this message about like we're enabling social gameplay.
Look at the tagline.
Game chat.
Look at the new tagline.
All together, anytime, anywhere.
I've already forgotten what it is actually because it's not as memorable. Yes,
I remembered it. But yeah, that is a fascinating thing is whether or not, as people are experiencing the system, on their own, without Nintendo holding their hand, like what is it that they're going to be interested in? I do not think game chat is going to be high on that list.
No.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have on here losers, people who want physical games. Big loser, you.
Please expand on this.
Well, I think with all this, the conversation around the game key cards and just the
is this something we don't already know?
The slow phasing out of physical games and all that stuff. I just don't think it's going to be very difficult. I just don't think physical games is going to be as easily accessible in this.
You think they're going to be hard to find?
I think so.
So you think like Cyberpunk physical can be sold out because everybody's like, oh, I need to grab that.
Might be.
Okay.
And I feel like you even talked about in sort of the late days of the Switch generation, like how difficult you went to go get a copy of Xenoblade
that was annoying.
at a Target and had a very difficult time. I think it's going to be exponentially harder now. And even if you do get have a physical thing, maybe it's a game key card or whatever.
Yeah, it'll be interesting when they finally turn over all those retail spaces. Like we should go to one of those and analyze them. Kind of when, go to a Best Buy and really...
Oh, that's a fun idea.
Yeah, and kind of...
Yes, because we would be able to tell.
Like see kind of what are they trying to communicate with how it's laid out. Because that'll be interesting. We haven't... I think people have pointed out some stores are starting to get ready, but it's not there. It's not there yet.
It's not there yet. We should totally do that. That would be a fun video. But yeah, I just think that anyone who is like living and dying on these physical games, it's going to be a tough generation for you.
Yeah.
Virtually patting you.
I think we know that though. I don't think that's a surprise. I think we're all bracing ourselves for this.
Have you braced? Have you girded?
Yeah.
I don't think you have.
I have.
I think you're emotionally fragile.
All right. Loser. I have to. Now I wrote this down, and I'm not sure what I was trying to say. But these concerns over innovation, like people you'll often see this like, well, is it innovative enough for a Nintendo system? And I think you could look at this both ways, which is there is going to be kind of, a vocal group that's like, oh, I wanted more from Nintendo. Like, where's the zany, wacky,
where's my themes and folders and Street Pass?
No. Where's the innovation in gaming that we've never seen before? Okay. It's kind of more of the same.
I see.
Or maybe it's the fact that just like, this is, the new path for Nintendo, which is just iterating on the Switch. And we get the Switch 3 and the Switch 4, like we've got PlayStations up the wazoo. And maybe that just kind of gets ground out. So now that I'm looking at what I've written down and I forgot what I was originally going to say, I think you could look at it both ways.
Yeah.
Either way, it's a loser.
Oh.
Which way is right? For the camera. Take your pick.
In the shape of an L on his forehead.
Wow.
Smash Mouth.
Now who's got the worst callback? That's Raising the Roof to Smash Mouth?
I'm going to get demonetized from singing a bar out of Smash Mouth.
Good thing it's
I didn't really think that was happening
tune.
in this podcast.
Greatly out of tune.
Another loser is really us, the consumers. We're kind of losers in a way because...
We're going to be broke?
We're going to be broke.
Yeah.
It's true. It's very true. I mean, we're going to be having fun. Like
Right.
a lot of fun. The games, the system, I think we're going to be very satisfied with it, but you cannot deny the premium pricing that this thing is. And speaking for myself, it just means that I have to like save up for things accordingly, or like I may not be able to get like every single game, even if like a lot of times in the Switch 1 generation, I'd be like, do I want to play this game? Couldn't hurt to just buy it and try it out. Like I don't think
it's harder to do that.
I don't think I would be doing
Take
that.
a risk on something.
Take a risk, yeah. Like I don't know if $80 would be like a risk-taking kind of thing.
Sure.
Like if I played Princess Peach Showtime and it was $80, I would rage.
You didn't actually buy that though.
I did not buy that.
No.
I was like, that doesn't work.
Virtual game key cards to the rescue.
I draw the line. I know, right? This is where I need to get the game share going.
Right.
But I do think, we have entered into this premium price echelon for just video game entertainment. It's not even just Nintendo. Like we're going to be talking about in the news, Xbox raising all the prices. Like this is the future. Like I mean, this is the reality.
Right.
Of the future of games, and this has always been a space where it is considered entertainment, extra stuff that you're doing with your like. The money that you're not using to survive, and you're going to need more and more money to just survive. Right. So people are going to have to make these decisions.
The kind of counterintuitive thing to that is we now have in the like modern times like a lot of examples of like entertainment like skyrocketing when times are tough. In the pandemic, it was always like, oh well, I better get this or I better get that. Like, and now it's like, the economy's going down. Better hunker down. But it feels like people are going to prioritize entertainment. There was some report from some analyst that's like, we think the Switch 2 is going to do great because people are looking for ways to feel good in times of general uncertainty. And it's like, I think there's something to that. Like psychologically, like you would have to find like what exactly it is. But I do agree with that.
Yeah, that's a really interesting way to look at it. I do think there's a huge difference between economic uncertainty and the pandemic. Because during the pandemic, we didn't really have economic uncertainty.
Really?
Not really. Like people were, remember how many, especially in this area, how many jobs were like, they were like ramping up, like the hiring was crazy. It was a job seekers market. Like you get like multiple offers and get like,
in your ivory tower.
Maybe it was
on the coastal elites.
Maybe it was an ivory tower. I don't know. That was my experience. And then of course you were like trapped at home, so you needed it in some other kind of way.
You convinced yourself I needed this.
But then you also had the money to pay for it.
It's a different kind of uncertainty, though.
Yeah, you still have the money to pay for it.
Comfort entertainment is what people are going for.
But the thing is that you had the money.
Right.
Nowadays, we don't have money. Like, I can't even buy a freaking carton of eggs for under $7. So,
I'm glad that you at least have finally understood how much a carton of eggs costs.
Yeah, it's expensive. Gotta pay mortgage. Interest rates are going up, people.
These are, as they say, YPs.
It's true, but I mean, I don't know. Like people are scared. People are definitely scared of like the economic, especially the economic uncertainty. And then you're lumping this into like a non-necessity. It's like, do I pay rent or do I buy a Switch? Do I
play it anywhere?
Fix my car? Do I get gas? Or do I buy a Switch? Or do
Yeah.
I buy a Mario Kart game? You know,
right.
whatever. So these are the kinds of like real life choices that
So what is your point with this monologue of yours?
we're losers is the point.
Okay.
We've lost the war on pricing.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I have that as a general like loser thing as well. Stop looking at my.
I'm not
That's
looking.
that's caught on camera usually.
I was looking over there.
No,
at the plant.
no. I saw your eyes looking at this screen.
You pointed to it.
Stop it.
We need a divider.
Don't do like an
Like a-
N64 game. You
No,
put your
we
divider on your GoldenEye screen.
Remember when we used to take tests and they used to have those things where you can't cheat off your neighbor's
I'll bet you had that a lot.
They had it for everyone.
Because of your track record.
I wasn't cheating on
You
a
were,
test.
you were.
Anyways.
Let's move on. We have some surprises.
Some
surprises that we want to talk about.
Yes.
Hardware feature surprises.
Yes, I think Joy-Con mouse. I think
Do you think there are enough proof points in the launch lineup for people to get psyched about the Joy-Con mouse?
I feel like there's some hidden Joy-Con mouse things that
Welcome
we
to
have.
her?
Maybe, yes, maybe. Actually, maybe.
So you're getting it.
No. Game share. Game share.
Is that a game share game?
Well, wouldn't it be?
Not everything has game share.
It doesn't have game share.
I don't know. I haven't looked that closely into it. I wasn't planning on sharing it.
Just let me play a little bit for like an hour.
Old school game share. Give me that.
Give me trade your Switches for a day. I was gonna say like Nintendo has definitely done the thing that Nintendo loves to do, which is like show you the thing in its most like ideal but / boring environment. Like everybody that was playing it during those hands-on events were like standing at a standing desk playing the mouse games.
Yeah.
And like I just feel like there's once that people get it in their homes, they're gonna be doing some crazy stuff with this mouse. And it's like, oh, it works on this, or I can play it like that, or like,
all right.
Oh my gosh, look at this crazy new control scheme that I discovered you could do with mouse.
So this is potentially one of the viral breakout
I feel
hits.
like it might be a fun like a fun thing where people are like, look at me using my mouse on X surface and playing this game, and I'm like, doing great. I'm like, one-shotting this game or whatever. Like
I'm one-shotting this game.
Let me one-shot
You've never
her.
sounded more out of touch.
One-shotting this Mario Kart game. I really feel like that could be a fun thing that people like. Finally, when they like are comfortable in their homes to do whatever, like that's when we discover like the really fun.
Does Fortnite use the mouse? I don't think we know yet.
It does. We don't know.
It could be an interesting use case.
There you go.
Okay.
There we go. Gen Z will help us understand what Fortnite can do with a mouse.
I'm not yet convinced there's enough great proof points for the mouse to be a breakout hit now. Maybe later, but I don't know. I have the screen as a surprise positive, where again, what's your issue?
It's not an OLED.
Okay, again, I go back to the many impressions that I have seen of people who have been to this event. They say, "Oh my gosh, this screen is great. This screen is a lot better."
They don't know.
Than I think they know a lot more than you do, actually.
I'm just being
They have eyes that actually work, unlike you. And yeah, they're like, oh, this LCD technology's come a long way. I think the size of the screen is a big difference. Like those were some of the biggest like wow moments we had. It was like when we went from the DS to the DS XL.
Yeah.
And
wow, it's bigger.
Wow, like
such a plain-minded person we were.
It's true though. Like just
simple-minded.
Just making your visual, input thing, field of vision bigger, like makes a big difference with these games that are going to look nice and good. I think that's going to be a positive. And whereas I think some people like you are like, oh, just on paper, like, oh, it's not OLED, it's going to be a step down. Like, I'm not sure it's going to be that big of a step down.
I can't tell, honestly, to be real.
Yeah.
I'm just being contrarian to be funny. But I'm excited because I only really play handheld. So
great for you then.
I'm excited.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm actually very
Great
excited about this. I think the screen is going to look great. And I think for me too, it's just going to be like, whoa, this thing is huge. And like baby hands are going to hold the thing and be like, whoa, this is huge.
Do you have the wrist strength to hold it up though?
I don't know.
Do you need to start doing wrist exercises?
My wrists are already very like messed up from editing videos.
Oh.
I think I have like serious injuries from editing videos in a non-ergonomic way. So I might be out of luck in general.
Well, it's time to start doing them in an ergonomic way.
Start using the Joy-Con mouse in an ergonomic
there we
way. Go. Where's my workers' comp for the Joy-Con mouse? Yes, the screen though. Yes, very cool. I do think that we're talking about Mario Kart World.
Yeah.
I definitely agree with you that it's like gonna be like Nintendo's cooking. Like they're like this is their bag. Like they really have so much that they've put into this game. And
They're cooking. They're in their bed. Would you also say that they ate? Nintendo ate with Mario Kart
That's
World.
where I draw the line.
Would you say that?
I wouldn't say that actually. I wouldn't. That's really going one step too far. What I'm thinking is that we were a little disappointed, all of us, I think, with that nothing burger of a Nintendo Mario Kart World Direct. I kind of do feel like they got something held back on this game.
Like what?
I don't know what it is. I don't know. I can't like predict exactly what I think what this feature could be or whatever surprise it is, but I just feel like they for sure 100% like poured everything into this game. This is like the biggest game they've made in, since Tears of the Kingdom, right? And they know this has to be a system seller for them. So they have put the stuff into it.
Yes.
And they might be doing that silly Nintendo thing where they're like, we gotta preserve the surprise for people. We can't show them too much. Like, show them a P-block, but...
The rush to leak begins.
Here we go. This is why no one's getting a system.
Countdown to a leak.
It could be any day now, honestly.
It's true.
Someone's data mined something.
It's true.
Someone has data mined something.
We're within a month.
Yeah, someone has
infiltrated a warehouse. And,
Oh, it's already in a hotel room in Poland somewhere. Someone is doing something. But I do think there are surprises still in this game that we don't know about.
Yeah, I agree with you.
People are going to be free roaming and oh my gosh, this cool thing.
Yeah.
Wow, like I can't believe this happened to me and my friends, whatever. I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to be so much fun to like finally dig into this game for ourselves and just like see it all. And if they are holding stuff back, good, because I want to be surprised. Great.
Yeah, I'm confident as well. I don't know if there's some like hidden mode or like something like massive,
like that.
But again, just like
this is a cool surprise.
The very understated nature of the open world that we saw before. Like I do think there will be enough to do there to make that cool and to make you want to do it.
Yeah, exactly.
I think backwards compatibility I'm going to put under a positive surprise. I think there have been a lot of implementations of backwards compatibility over the years, some better than others, but I think just the wow factor of like, oh my gosh, this huge library that I had before, now I can continue it on, and in some cases I'm getting some sort of a benefit. In every case, at least it's going to be on a bigger screen. Can't argue with that.
Yeah.
I think that'll be a positive.
Yeah. You might be surprised at my next surprise.
Oh.
Which is, I think Welcome Tour is actually going to be more fun than 1-2 Switch.
So you're buying it?
No.
Oh, more fun than 1-2 Switch?
Yes.
Well,
bar's kind of low.
This is not saying much.
I won't buy it still, but it basically feels like, these kinds of like tech demo games are actually very fun. Like a Astrobot or like a whatever. Astro's Playroom, I mean. But I don't think that we should pay for them, but I do think that it actually will be fun, and I'm glad they already.
Then why would you not buy it?
I'm not going to buy it
because you've
out of principle.
You've backed yourself into a corner.
No, principle.
You don't allow yourself to grow or change. Unfortunately, is the truth. Is something I've learned about you.
That's not true.
No,
I'm
you're very
always growing.
You're very hard-headed and stubborn.
I'm a Taurus.
And you're doing that right now. If you're just going to say that this is going to be great, but I'm not going to buy it.
I'm going to play yours.
No.
Yes.
I'm going to force you to buy it.
No, I won't.
I'll trade you for a Rhythm Heaven.
No.
No
deal.
Hit game. What is going to be? Is Welcome Tour also going to be the hit game of the launch?
The hit game is Cyberpunk.
Oh, okay.
The hit game is 100% Cyberpunk.
I have that as the third-party hit game.
Yeah, this is a darling already with them going out saying.
And you're going to play it again.
I'm 100% playing this again. I'm recommending this to everybody else in my friend circle that have never played this game or only own a Switch. I'm like, don't skip out on this game. So many of my friends are like, I'm kind of not interested in Mario Kart. I'm going to play Cyberpunk instead.
Perfect.
So
great.
Like they're like, a lot of my friends are like, I'm not like Mario Kart day one. I'm usually a lot of my friends are like Zelda players or whatever, and I'm like, well, I've got a game for you.
Yeah.
Play Cyberpunk instead.
Totally.
But I think this is going to be the huge game winner for a launch.
Yeah, I think that and Mario Kart are two standouts. I already mentioned F-Zero GX on the GameCube. Like again, just like the built-up demand for F-Zero, and this is like such a great F-Zero game, and it's going to run great, look great, play great.
Yeah.
But then very similar, Fast Fusion from our friends at Shinen,
yes,
which looks to be a very similar F-Zero type experience, but they don't make a ton of games. They often have games launch games on Nintendo hardware that are always like super good, super polished, always push the hardware like really hard and look great. Haven't seen too many people talking about that, but I definitely circle that one of probably going to be really good. And I think they said it's a very low price too. They were kind of getting some attention of like, I think it's either $14 or $19.
Oh, that's a great price.
Wow. Yeah. So it's going to be good.
Yeah. Okay. Wow. I think we have sales.
Predictions on sales, yes.
Yeah. Well, I do think it's going to break the record.
Which record?
Fastest selling console of all time.
How do you define that?
I think they said that...
However they want. That's the answer.
Probably however they want. But they did have some time frame they were comparing to like the launch of like PS5 and things like that. I think the current projection is 15 million by the end of this calendar year.
Who said that?
There was an analyst.
Oh, the analyst. Nameless analyst.
This is a Bloomberg analyst, so
nameless, faceless analyst.
Maybe they have a little bit more credibility than the person that added 3 numbers.
Okay. That was amazing.
Well, I think they actually lowered their forecast a little bit because they were like... Before,
the analyst.
The analyst.
Oh, okay.
They were like, it's 17 million, but now they're like 15 million is probably more likely for them. So.
Okay.
But that's still huge.
Yeah.
So...
Yeah, I think they're good for the rest of this calendar year. Actually, I think they'll break, whatever day 1, week 1, month 1.
All those records.
They'll break all those records.
Yeah.
I do think it probably might be harder to get in the summer once we get into the summer because their next job is going to be we need to replenish for the holidays and have a big burst there. Yeah. So it might be a little bit harder to get as they get everything. And again, like they have this weird problem of like where if we have a system, where does it need to be sent? Yeah. Like if this we actually have a question coming up later of like what if the Japan market is just like so much bigger and more dominant than every other market? What happens then?
Adjust allocation for Japan.
Yeah. What happens then? Yeah. I think for the rest of 2025, they're good. They'll break all those records. It's once you get past that we'll have to wait. We'll have to wait and see.
That's when we'll see the longevity.
And that's where, if there is an issue with the price or, name your,
name your challenge.
Name your personal grievance. Like, are any of those going to start to impact the momentum?
Well, that's when you'll see for sure if it's broken out of the fervor of the fans.
But we also don't really know anything about the lineup that deep into 2026. So who knows?
Yeah.
Like maybe they have such an incredible like March game that's like, we cannot. I can't not buy this.
Animal Crossing.
Could be. Next. Reviews.
Deep breath.
You really didn't want to do this.
I was like, this is tough. That's tough.
So we're going to guess the review scores for the hardware, Mario Kart World, and Welcome Tour.
Yes.
Okay.
Hardware. I'm going to say 8 out of 10.
That's what I guessed as well.
Yeah. Take that, IGN.
They can't.
They cannot give it a 7.
No, they can't.
Okay, you can't do that because you saw what happened with the Switch.
Right.
8 is very, very solid. I think it makes sense for a successor-ish system.
Right.
And, again, judging on all of these hands-on events and the impressions that have come out from that, nothing but positive things, and so I cannot.
This is where you can see people ding like, well, Nintendo's hung their hat on hardware innovations over the years, but you don't really see it in this. Like, this is where you could see people like, I docked at a point because of this or that.
Because it doesn't have the Nintendo magic.
Exactly.
Magics.
Exactly.
Yes.
And you don't often see hardware like getting like a perfect score, like there's
or even like a 9.
There's always
what PS5 get?
I don't remember.
Okay.
But it's never.
It's probably around the same, actually.
Right. Mario Kart World. Metacritic score.
92.
92? Oh my gosh. I said 88.
Blasphemous.
I said 88, yeah.
This game is definitely going to score above 90. Are you kidding me?
Are you sure?
Yes. You don't think this next gen Mario Kart game is going to score higher than a 90?
Give us your rationale first, since you seem so strong.
All
feel
the
so
things
strongly
I've already
about
said.
This. Okay.
How do you give it an 88?
It's the same. It's the same thing. Like there are things that people can say, like, "Oh, is it worth $80?" Everybody's going to have a paragraph in their review of "Is it worth $80?" And some people are not going to feel like it is, or some people are going to be like upset about that, and they're going to find a reason to deduct a point. There you're at a 9 already, and the whole thing of like, well, oh, have they done enough in 10 years? And like I think for most people the answer will be yes, but like I don't know, it doesn't take that many 8s out of 10s to bring you down to an 88. That's still a great score. What was the Metacritic score of Mario Kart 8 on the Wii U? You don't have a clue.
Well, that's probably lower.
What was the score of Mario Kart 8 Deluxe?
What's the score of Smash Ultimate?
I don't know. You were the marketing lead for this game, as you've proclaimed endlessly on this
What is it
podcast.
now?
Why don't you tell us?
I can't.
You don't know.
Smash. I'm gonna look it up.
Oh, now we're wasting time for you. What does Smash Ultimate have to do with this?
It's kind of the same thing.
Oh dear.
Metacritic.
You are a misguided soul.
I'm not. Smash Ultimate Metacritic score.
Yes.
Let's see.
And?
It is loading 93.
Okay.
Universal acclaim.
All right. Well, it's good that we have some difference of opinion. We'll see.
What do I get if I'm right?
I don't know. There's always, it's a launch game. Like, there's always some, like, oh, but.
But.
Like,
But buttons.
But
what?
There's often some limitation to launch games, which again, like makes Zelda Breath of the Wild. Like
Zelda.
And that was, originally a Wii U game.
Kart 8 Deluxe.
I know Mario Kart 8 Deluxe was in like the low 90s.
Metacritic. Oh, see?
But again, that was building on a game that it had before that it had improved. And then I think it was like high
92.
80s. And I think it was high 80s for the base version.
You're so wrong.
We'll see.
Welcome tour.
Welcome tour. 95? Yeah. Oh, the ice cream truck's here now.
No, it's too early for the ice cream truck.
It is. This is your punishment. No ice cream for you.
Why? Because I won't buy it. Welcome tour? The ice cream costs $5. The welcome tour is... Wait a second. Are we making good decisions?
Guess the score.
9.
Oh, I got you. It's a Freudian slip. You want it to be 90.
73.
Oh, I said 68.
Oh, no. You're very critical. Who hurt you?
Well, again, like, there's the little mini games, and then there's, like, the content that's not really a game. It's, like, informative. It's infotainment. And, like, how...
Is it even tainment?
How
or
many...
It's just info?
Like,
what percentage of it is tainment?
How engaging, how interesting is that going to be... To a broad audience, like if you are not into the nuts and bolts of the system,
the little mini
are you
games
going to care?
Though, seem fun. Like how?
Oh, look at you coming around on Welcome Tour.
Steven was describing it to us. I was like, oh, okay.
This is a real delayed reaction a month later for you. Like, yeah, this is awesome.
No, it's not awesome.
But you're not going to buy it.
I'm not going to buy it.
You're hunkered down.
It's definitely not going to be like in the 50s or something like that in terms of a score. I think there's enough in there for
it's $10. $10 gives it.
That's true. It's like the barrier.
The low
end.
Yeah, the low end of it is saved a little bit by it being $10.
Wow. Oh man, what a discussion about this launch though.
Yeah. Some correct opinions, some wrong opinions being shared.
I don't know.
Interesting. I guess we'll see which is which.
All I can think about is ice cream right now. I gotta be honest.
We asked our Patreon subscribers to share their headlines or video titles. If for the Switch 2 launch. EdMG7 says, Nintendo Switch 2 sales show that in a world where everything is more expensive, people save their money for reliable comfort.
Ah, there you go.
Aster says, Switch 2 sells out. Fear of impending tariffs sparks fast upgrade rate. So I thought this was
interesting.
Which is, are people, like, if it sells really quickly, what reason will people assign to it? Because in this case, it's like, oh, well, people wanted to buy it now because they're worried about the price going up later, which is a thing that could actually is a thing that could actually happen.
The price ain't going down, but for sure. But it could go up.
Right. But it's interesting how people can assign different reasons to why a thing happened.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's true.
Cooper Sanders says, Mario Kart World, $80 price tag, infinite fun.
Oh,
that's nice. I like that.
Worth the price.
And then Mikey has a great YouTube title. Do not game chat with Cow from Mario Kart World at 3 a.m. Super scary, not clickbait. I like that.
Oh, a possessed cow at 3 a.m. sounds pretty scary.
Do not.
Sounds really scary.
Do not.
Wow, incredible stuff.
Let's move on to the games we are playing. We've got some
We got some
We
stuff.
got some stuff here. We got some new stuff. I checked out the demo for a game called Incombini.
Oh, so cute.
Which is a game that we actually checked out first last year, about a year ago at GDC. Kind of out of nowhere at this Xbox event that we went to, but it's a game about running a Japanese convenience store in the 90s, which is a lot of things that you are
Immediately
into.
in
Yes.
vibe-wise, yes.
And that was, right away when we played it then, it was like, oh, this is a really interesting idea. And I hadn't heard a ton about it over the past year, but they're out and they released a demo. I think by the time this episode is out,
the demo might be gone.
the demo is either gone or going away.
Yeah.
So definitely check, because I'm not sure if it'll still be there. This is basically an updated version of the demo that we played at that Xbox event. It's pretty short, like it was only like 15 minutes long, but it gives you a great sense of what this game is. You can make an incorrect assumption that this game is like Japanese convenience store manager 2025. It is not that.
No.
It is more, it has higher like narrative aspirations, where like, yes, you need to stock the store and
In a very satisfying way.
arrange things correctly on the shelves.
Kind of like a little to the left, that game that I love.
Sure,
Yeah.
sure. But then also, like, customers will come in and you'll talk to them and you'll kind of get their personal story. Like in the demo, this guy comes in and it sounds like he'd had an argument with the owner, who is not you. You're like, there for just a little, you're like helping out.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, well, maybe you shouldn't tell them that I came in because we're not on great terms now. And then he's like, oh, my cat has stomach issues, so my cat needs the, anti-allergen food. Can you help me find it? And then you have to go through all the shelves and find, oh, this one has this ingredient, so that I'm gonna help you find that.
Some of the stories are quite touching, I remember. There was, in the demo, there was a story that was like, very heartfelt. It was someone dealing with like a real life, like, caring for an aging parent, like kind of like stuff like that, where it is very true to that kind of idea of if you run like a small neighborhood store, you kind of start to see the same people over and over again, and you're kind of in the community in that way where, you do get like, you see the kids growing up kind of thing if you've run the store for like 20 years, or like you see the people aging, and, it's a kind of a slice of life sort of thing, which I think it's very clever to put that into the setting of a Japanese convenience store. It's a great sort of setting for storytelling. I love the demo when I played.
I wonder, and I wasn't able to determine this in the demo. Is there any way to like lose the game? Because at the start, it's like, oh, the store hasn't opened yet. Like, put this stuff out on the shelves and make sure everything's looking good. Right. And some of it's obvious. It's like, okay, there's an empty slot here, and I have that product in the back, so I'm going to go put it on the shelves. But some of it, it's very like attention oriented, where it's like, oh, this product was slightly turned the wrong way.
You have to like face the labels.
Right, have the labels facing the right way. And I did miss a few things, and the guy came in and was like, oh, why is this here? You usually have this in stock. I couldn't find it. I don't know if there's ever any sort of fail state, or if it's they'll just like give you a hard. I hope not.
I hope not. What if you give the cat the wrong food and it like has like an allergic reaction?
I don't know. I was able to find the right food. I was also like, oh, is there some timer? Like, is he going to get mad at me if I don't find? Because there was a lot of cat food to go through, and I had to read the labels.
See, I would be nervous.
I don't think there is, and I hope not, because this game does have a more relaxed.
Yeah, it's kind of cozy game feel to it for sure.
It totally does. And then like at the end, you're right. Like a lot of the things you do are very satisfying. When you're stocking the shelves, it goes like kerchunk, kerchunk, kerchunk. And then,
it's like those TikTok videos of people stocking their fridge in an organized way. It's like a very addictive
I don't get those.
People know what I'm talking about.
And then when you're checking out, like you have to actually like find the barcode, like rotate the item and scan it. So like there are,
and then, like put in the little bag. It's very tactile. The feeling of you in a store and doing those physical things, like it feels really real.
Right. Yeah. I don't have a I don't know yet when this game is coming out. They've obviously been working for it.
Is this coming out for Switch 2?
For a while. I would love that. I mean,
please do.
Obviously, I played this on a Steam Deck. It's at that Xbox event, so it'll be on Xbox. I don't know what else. Yeah. So hopefully they'll let us know. But yeah, I was very happy to check in on this game because I've got my eye on it.
Yeah, me too. You know, we have the great weakness for the Japanese 7-Elevens and other convenience stores.
Or Lawson's.
Or Family Mart.
Not always 7-Elevens.
We basically went to every single day when we were in Japan.
You got it.
The big chicken.
The convenience. The Family Chicky, yes.
The Family Chicky.
Delicious.
Oh, I
you should
miss
eat
the
it.
Family Chicky so much. All right.
You've been back on Infinity Nikki.
I am back on Infinity Nikki because the 1.5 update just launched. It was a bit of a mixed reaction from the fans.
They had to put out an apology for something?
What happened? They had to put out an apology. So this is a pretty significant update. I actually did not do it day one. Oh. I kind of had a feeling that with an update this big, there may be some growing pains. So I'm glad that I waited a couple of days.
What is in it?
They basically reset the story for it. It's a pretty huge update. But people were a little upset because there was a lot of bugs that sort of crashed people's games and things like that. And they kind of did this thing. I mean, it is one of these kinds of games, so you kind of expect it, but I don't know. People were mad because the gotcha aspect of it had gotten a real nickel and dimey, where to collect the full, outfit set, it was many more pieces, and it was harder and harder for you to resonate to get those pieces, and people were mad about that. So anyhow, I jumped in sort of after the apology letter and after they had gifted everybody a bunch of currency and stuff, and sort of we're trying to make good on some of the stuff that people were upset about. I did not have any bugs when I played.
How much later after it came out was that?
I think it was maybe a week later, 5 days, maybe, something like that. Yeah, it came out on April 25th, I believe, the update.
When you say that this reset the story, what do you mean? Is it a new story?
Yeah,
thing,
it's sort of like the next big story moment.
Okay.
And the thing began with this super impressive cutscene sequence. Well, I was like, whoa. I did not expect this. There was a lot going on. I was a little dazzled by the graphics and sort of the whole idea of... So you basically get pulled into this new place called the Sea of Stars, which is not the environment that I was in before. And you meet these new people, and you have these brand new main quests and new outfits and all sorts of stuff. So it was quite the wow opening. And then you sort of kind of figure out you have to go back to the original location you were in to complete these quests, and then you can go back. But they've really added this whole new beautiful area for you to explore.
Did I hear you say that this adds co-op?
It does.
This one does?
It does. And the co-op is it looks really fun. It's kind of got a split fiction
Who is the other character that the other person's playing as?
Actually,
Nikki too?
It's your other Nikki.
Okay,
yeah.
but it's not some other distinct, different character.
No.
Okay.
Yeah. But I think you can do a lot of cool platforming challenges.
Yeah.
Kind of like what they do in Infinity or in Split Fiction. So we should try it out for sure and do that. You can there's cute you hold hands with the other person platform together. It's really cute. Like
a three-legged race situation almost?
I think it can help them.
Oh. I'm not sure if this is good or not.
That might be hard, yeah. But it is very fun. It's very cute.
Yeah.
Again, I didn't really experience a lot of the issues that people were mad about.
Well, it seems they fixed it by the time you
seems that
got to it.
After I got to it, they had fixed it. So I am now back in.
Great.
And playing some of that new main quest stuff. But I would love to try it if you're wanting to play multiplayer.
I'd like to see it. Yeah.
Multiplayer with you. And it continues to be. I like it.
Well, it seems a lot of people like it.
I don't do the gotcha stuff at all. I haven't paid a single dime.
Do you get enough for free?
I feel I do, but
I
don't care. If I don't get the full outfit within the time period, it's not that big of a deal to me. I mean, some people really care. So I get that. If you're playing this game to collect all the stuff, that's pretty hard for you to do without paying. But I don't care. It's not. I just like to be in the world. I'm having fun. I don't need to have the full Starlight Wish outfit or whatever. So I like it. I think it's great. I mean,
good.
No issues on my end in terms of people being mad. But yes, I did.
No need to apologize.
I did see the apology, and I was like, oh wow, people are kind of mad.
Going down.
Yeah, but they were very proactive about apologizing. So
Did you say, like, yeah, you said that apology went out like immediately.
they had like an apology, like a big long apology letter, and it was like
Was it a good apology?
it was very like over the top. It was like,
Oh.
please give us another chance to make it up to you, like kind of like that vibe.
Yeah.
It's like, wow, Nintendo, if they can you imagine if Nintendo was like, we're gonna send out an apology? Like, are you kidding me?
No.
Like that would never happen, right?
Yeah.
So anyhow,
All right.
apologies were in order.
I have been mentioning that I wanted to get back into Fortnite when
You have.
when the Switch 2 came out, but now they're doing this throughout the whole month of May, this whole Star Wars event. I was like, I need to get in now and check this out because I'm a big Star Wars fan.
May the 4th.
So I got back in on my PS5. It was kind of a long process because I had to look, I haven't touched Fortnite in like years. Legit.
You didn't play it on your Switch?
I don't care to play it on my Switch. That version is a little inferior to the PS5 version.
Really?
Oh, I mean, you know this.
I mean, I don't play it.
It's chugging at this point.
Oh, it is.
It's really
is it
chugging.
bad? Okay, I don't know.
So I had to reinstall. I had to I was ready to play it one night, but I had to wait until the next night because it was still downloading all sorts of things.
Yeah, it's been so long.
But I did finally get in, and it's like, wow, there's a lot that's happened in Fortnite since I've been gone, which again has been a couple years. So it's
Did
been.
you see Sabrina Carpenter?
I did. It's been interesting to see this game like really like get bigger and evolve in the time that I've been away. So some of this stuff is like, it's like no duh to people who've been following the game. But to me, it's like, I really hadn't been checking in on this again in a couple years. I could see myself getting sucked in, but I was just amazed at like when you're going through the shop, just like the volume of brands, IP, like in different ways that they can sell it to you. It's like, yes, they've got the skins, but you buy music, you buy shoes.
V-Bucks?
You need so many V-Bucks now. Hopefully, I mean, I don't know.
I don't think I should go.
You might have a large number of V-Bucks waiting for you.
But it's on the Switch
The
version.
thing that was amazing, I was still logged into. I was bracing because I was like, this is gonna suck. I don't remember what I'm logged in
your
as. I don't.
passwords.
What's my username? I don't know. What's my password? I don't have a clue. But I still remembered me. I was so happy. It's like,
it's like, we got you back.
it's like you are logged in. Yes, that was so
After
great.
all these years.
Yes.
That's amazing.
That was great. And I just did a few, like they have, there's so many different like riffs on the game that you can play. It's like some of them are the official ones, some of them are fan made. Like they've really blurred the lines of like all of that. And they've also got like the Lego and there's like, it seems like there's some like Rocket League integration into it now. It's like there's a lot on this screen to make sense of. And so I was like, I just need to reorient myself with this game. So I just did a few of the normal Battle Royale. But even that, like they have these really nice like visual updates for the Star Wars where like in the distance you can see the Death Star like in the sky and like a Star Destroyer. So it's like, oh, this.
Do you have like Star Wars weapons?
No. Oh, they do have some Star Wars modes. I haven't tried those out, and they were showing like, oh, you can fly a TIE fighter, you can do dogfighting.
What?
In that, so I need to check that out. But I only did this very briefly last night.
Oh, that's fun.
So I'll check back in next week with more on that. But this was a really.
This seems like super more involved than I imagined.
This was just about reorienting myself to Fortnite because I've been away for a while, and then I'm actually like figure out how to get back in, and I really do want to check out this Star Wars stuff.
Okay, I want to know what the Star Wars is.
And it's good because I actually did still have. When they did a Mandalorian event a couple years, that was the last time I played.
have the outfit.
So I do still have the Mandalorian outfit.
Oh,
so
nice.
it's like, all right,
You're themed out.
I have something for this Star Wars event.
Fun.
Yeah. So more to come on that. More to come on Fortnite.
And you saw Sabrina Carpenter.
Game you haven't
which is
heard
the
much about. I'm here to tell you about it.
Most important.
Sabrina Carpenter. They still had some Ariana Grande stuff. Like
Maybe that's like forever.
Right, but again, they're also selling you the music. Like they're selling you all this stuff.
Yeah.
Like they have found like so many ways to monetize every little thing. Put these Air Jordans on your Mandalorian. Like, wear the Crocs with the Mandalorian. Oh, the Emperor's like doing a Fortnite dance in Crocs.
Oh man.
While the Sabrina Carpenter plays.
And this is why Nintendo won't be in Fortnite.
Like part of it's like this is disgusting. Like the consumerism here is disgusting. But on the other hand, I was like, I'm actually kind of impressed at this.
This is a business.
Like the degree to which they have woven it all together into this
What do you
thing.
think they're making?
Oh man, like all this stuff was pretty like. I need to check the conversion rate of V-Bucks. Maybe
to USD?
Have there been some fluctuations in the exchange rate, but it's like I think it's like 1,000 V-Bucks was something. I was like, if I remember, like that ain't super cheap. 1,000 V-Bucks.
Is that like $2, $5?
I think it might be more than that. Ooh. That might be more. So I don't know.
Free to start.
Man.
Free to start.
Yeah, so I will check back because
Yeah.
now I want to get into the Star Wars stuff because I thought that looked cool.
Oh, you're gonna buy so much stuff.
Your
credit card.
That PS5 that version looks really nice.
Yeah?
I was really happy that I got that version because like this runs smooth, looks super colorful, looks.
Do you remember how to
really
build
sharp.
still? I was so bad at
They
that.
introduced some new
quick
easier
build?
building, which
Yeah.
I automatically turned it on. I didn't really do the building before because I was
Yeah.
like, this is a little bit above my skill level.
That's before I just hid in a bush.
I'm just trying to shoot people and stay alive.
Yeah, that's what I did.
So yeah, the building was never my
Remember when I was in the bush?
forte. Hiding and doing nothing.
I remember that was really fun.
It's what you do best.
I did it for like 20 minutes and then we got Battle Royale.
Great.
We were winning number one.
Maybe you should check this out too.
I was carried
Maybe
in a
you
bush.
should check this out.
I would love to, actually. I'm kind of curious now too. Yeah.
Yeah. Next game, we have to dance around this next game, Claire Obscure Expedition 33, because it's our spoiler cast game for May.
I can't
wait
again for this.
We will be back in a few weeks with our big spoiler cast, hours and hours of conversation.
Yeah. This is probably going to be the most anticipated for me, like spoiler cast discussion, because you and I we talk all the time, obviously. And we talk about the games we're playing all the time, like daily, at least once a day. And we have like made a commitment now to like not be very specific.
Well, we've reached a point where I don't think it's wise,
It's not safe.
wise or safe to talk about this game together anymore.
And this game is just next level in terms of story.
Yes.
Like the story aspect of it is so intriguing that we can't even do any of the speculation right now anymore. We just have to experience it and then talk about it once we're done.
Yeah.
It's just too much. It's too good is what it is. This game, I am so like enamored. I just want, now I'm in that space that I was in with Elden Ring where I'm just like, just give me everything about this game. I want to know everything. So I'm like watching the interviews. I like watch like this 10-minute video on the person that composed the game.
So there have been some really interesting stories of like how the game came together.
Right. I'm fascinated
like
by all of this.
So you watched that music.
You saw me watching it. It was like in French.
So they found this guy on SoundCloud.
There's this thing about this game that is just incredible where everything sort of happened in a very serendipitous kind of way where it was just like almost like a stroke of good luck or like you're in the right place at the right time. And this was what happened with this composer who was sort of like, not a unknown because he was not talented. He was just kind of like, putting his stuff out there.
He was trying to get his break.
Yeah, and he's putting his stuff out there on places like SoundCloud. I think
Is his old stuff still up?
Probably.
We should check that out.
We should check it out because
Yeah.
I'm in love with him.
Yeah.
Like, who are you? And oh my God.
The soundtrack, we should say, is on it's everywhere. It's on YouTube, it's on Spotify, it's on Apple.
It's like the only thing I've been listening to in the last like week. But yes, the game director found this guy, that Lauren, I think is his name, and it was just like one of those things where like the game director like never goes on this music platform, and that person that composed the music never really uploaded to this music platform, and they like weirdly all went on it. Like he went on it to like look for something, and then he uploaded his music there, and it was like a serendipitous thing where it's like, oh, who's this guy? Like, I'm gonna call him.
Yeah.
And then even the woman that's the singer, she was like, I never worked with this the composer before.
Oh, really?
I just like went to his house and we sat down on the piano and he was like, so you want to like riff on this a little bit? Like I have sort of like the backing tone. Do you want to like try your hand at some melody and layering? And she's like, sure. And they recorded it in like one afternoon and that was the theme song.
Wow.
And they didn't change it.
Oh
they,
my gosh.
they were like,
I need to watch this video.
They're like, we barely changed it. We like
Wow.
changed like one thing.
Yeah.
But it just,
Where is that video?
I found it. It was on their site, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it was just like one of those,
Yeah.
and even the director was coming out and saying, ex-Ubisoft guy, right? He was like, I was so bored at Ubisoft, like I just wanted to do something else, and this was like in my brain,
Yeah.
And he just like went on Reddit and found very like junior level developers and people that are obviously extremely talented, but like kind of like hadn't gotten their like feet wet on making an actual game yet, and that was the team. that makes
Yeah, there's
it.
a lot of stories like that. Like there was one also over the past week that came out about like the woman who ended up being the lead writer. She was like, "Oh, I auditioned to be like a voice actress."
She's like a sci-fi writer.
Right, but I ended up just writing the whole game. It's
Yeah.
like, what? Like these strokes of luck of finding these super talented people and letting them really flex their muscle
Yeah.
in a very
writing
unfettered
in this game
way.
is so beautiful. Like the stuff that, there's like so much like poetry and like actual like literature in this game. And I'm like, well, how do they do this?
Right.
And I do think that because they had this very like sort of, it seems to be at least like a very open creative process. They were like not bogged down by, maybe the things that you should be doing when you're making you're so honed in, like, I gotta make a AAA game to make money and like survive. Like they seemed to be like a little untethered from that.
Yes.
And because they were able to do that, like this is the product. And
Yeah.
it's incredible.
Yeah, I've been trying to like think through like again like it doesn't make sense that you can make a game like this with 30 people that costs $50 that's this high quality, and when you're in those environments like outside of the world map, like they're a little like corridor-ish, like it's not like a huge open world, like you're generally going down a path. I've seen other people saying like, oh, they might be using like in Unreal Engine they have like default animations that you can just use. I've seen some people I would actually love to hear from anybody who's worked with Unreal Engine of like, is there stuff that they're just using like off the rack from Unreal Engine in terms of animations or other tools that they didn't have to make themselves?
Or did they?
I don't think that's a bad thing if they are.
It's like, what did you find to ease the burden of development?
And I think they've also like,
good for you.
They've carefully avoided any sort of bloat. Like everything that's in there like has a purpose, has a reason. Like I saw some people asking like, oh, why isn't there a photo mode in here? It's like, well, who knows? Like that could have been, it expands the scope of the game more than they could have. Like they are really, what can we do well?
And also it's like,
a great
what
story.
is important for me to do well?
Yeah, a great story. Okay.
Really fleshed out characters.
A great battle system.
Amazing, deep battle system. Enough things to give you a sense of exploration. Just enough.
Right.
Not in a sense of like, I need to spend 100 hours to 100% this, but like enough for you to feel like, oh, there's little nooks and crannies.
And I guess a lot of those things like are not like per se expensive things to do, but then there are other things where it's like I look at the overworld map. I really like that overworld map, and I was like, oh well, maybe this is like contrary to what I was thinking about that.
Every day I play this game,
so I don't know.
My brain is just like doing acrobatics, trying to figure out like, how do they do this? How do they make this game? What are they doing? How do they get the sense? It's almost hard to describe too. Like as I'm playing, like there is this like quality to it that's very difficult to describe. It's unlike any game I've ever played, but it reminds me of every game that I love. Like there's something like very familiar a little bit about the battle systems. Like it has like a Persona, like a Final Fantasy quality, Bravely Default quality to it, but not quite. And you look at the overworld exploration, and it's kind of like those kinds of RPG games, but not quite.
Yes. And
I have seen other people also trying to wrap their head around, like, how do I classify this game? I think the best description I've heard so far is this is French Xenoblade. And that's pretty good, pretty accurate. Very, very much in that sense of like storytelling and crunchy battle mechanics and things like that. But yeah, I'm just totally enamored. I'm like so in love with this game. I'm like, I just want to consume everything about it because I just want to learn more. Like I want to learn everything about this game.
Well, bad news. We're off to Boston for 4 days.
I know.
We'll be setting it down.
We both. We were talking about this yesterday, and we were like, we better leave off at a place where it's like a good stopping point because you don't want to be like that would
be bad.
Big mid story sequence or big
in a boss or something,
like on your way to a boss or at a boss. Or having not defeated a boss and then have to leave it.
Yes.
So I did find a pretty good stopping point, and I think I'm okay. I think we actually might be at the same stopping point.
Oh.
But we won't be talking.
Interesting.
About it. Yeah.
We'll never know.
We'll never know.
Are you still playing the Blueprints?
I am.
You do that, and I'm going to look up Fortnite V-Bucks exchange rate.
Okay. Well, I am still making breakthroughs in the Blueprints. I have figured out one important thing that I was very confused about. I'm trying to, again, this is like a spoiler. Maybe you should just fast forward through this if you don't want to listen to the spoiler, the blueprint stuff. But to get into that room, you have to pull these levers. They're like, seem to be, like, I can make my way there. Remember, I told you that I made my way all the way up there, but I couldn't get in. It was like the doors were locked. I have found a way. I'm getting closer.
Oh, great.
You don't care.
By the way, 1,000 V-Bucks is basically $10.
Oh, that's a lot more than I thought it was. Oh, man.
Right, and if I'm remembering right, that those skins were about $1,000.
$10 each?
That's a lot.
How many
that adds
skins are
up.
people getting? Oh, the children.
I mean, you got to have them all.
The children?
You got to have them all. Also, I'll also just give a small reminder that Fortnite is in the Bodhi Hall of Fame for a reason.
Oh, yeah.
Back to blueprints, though.
There's no Bodhis in there. There's a boudoir, but not a Bodhi.
A boudoir.
There is a boudoir.
A boudoir?
A boudoir. Yeah, anyhow, I continue to make these breakthroughs. I'm going to keep playing this game. That's the end of that discussion.
Great, good. So move on to the news. Wow, some news has been popping off.
Oh my goodness.
Also some fake news we have. Some fake news that we'll talk about as well. The real news though, Grand Theft Auto 6 is delayed. Was not a shock to us. We chose that in our fantasy critic.
This is our like counter pick.
To our delight, yes.
We're delighted by this.
So the new release date is May 26th. Rockstar put out this message saying, "We're sorry this is later than you expected. The interest and excitement surrounding a new GTA has been humbling. With every game we've released, the goal has always been to try and exceed your expectations. We hope you understand. Please understand.
Please understand.
We need this extra time to deliver at the level of quality you expect and deserve." Okay.
Oh, wow. I'm just saying this right now, but this is coming out birthday month of next year.
Or is your birthday going to be overshadowed?
No. But time
to reschedule your birthday.
I hope I make it.
It's time.
You don't have to pour one out for me.
I did have that thought of all the homies who aren't going to make it now.
What if I don't make it?
It's possible.
To pour one out.
It's possible. And then they said, "We look forward to sharing more information with you soon." And lo and behold, there's a new trailer out.
Yes, that dropped the morning that we recorded this podcast.
So we've seen that. What are your thoughts?
Oh man, it's incredible.
You want to go to Florida now?
No, but I want to play this game to see Florida from afar. Wow. It's a wow. Like,
it's a wow.
It's a wow.
Yeah.
Like I don't know. I don't have any words. I mean, it certainly is just like this game is unbelievable to look at. Like I truly can. It looks so it's so hyper realistic. I'm like I can't even tell.
Well, I think for me, the greatest positive that I can say about it is the thing that I came away from it most interested in is the relationship between the two main characters.
It's a Bonnie and Clyde story.
It's like, yes, the game looks incredible. Like it still has all of the satirical elements, like the crazy level of detail. But I came away, I was like, oh no, I think this will be a really interesting story.
The narrative is very interesting.
These two characters.
Yeah.
What kind of misadventures, what kind of tragedy is going to befall them in the end, all that stuff.
I love the idea of it being a Bonnie and Clyde story. It's awesome. Talking about Bodhi, though.
Whew.
There's some Bodhis in this game.
Bodhi 2026.
Bodhi 2026.
You all are on notice.
GTA is the one to beat already.
Yeah.
So good luck to the rest of the Bodhis in 2026. The story looks
the
super
A
fun.
in GTA doesn't stand for auto, let me tell you that much.
Dad Auto, though.
Other thoughts?
Wow.
Did you notice at the very end it says captured on PS5?
I know, I saw that.
Yeah.
That means the PS5.
Are you gonna want to get a PS5 Pro to get the highest fidelity out of this game?
I don't know. Maybe not. I don't think it's worth it for me to upgrade to PS5 Pro. I do really enjoy the environments that they've created. Like they show you a lot of environments.
Yeah.
And they basically said here are the different
there was a lot
areas.
Yes.
It's like 8 or something like that.
Yes.
Areas that you'll be experiencing in this game. And not only did they release this trailer, they released 70 screenshots.
Oh, did they?
Yes.
Oh, I don't know if I saw all those.
It's ridiculous the amount of information they just dropped.
Yeah, they put out a big update on their website with here's little bios
significant
on the characters, all the locations.
Mm-hmm.
And it's interesting. They didn't have to do any of that.
No, this game's delayed.
They could have released zero information more and then just released the game.
Yeah.
And probably would have had no detrimental effect
Not
at all.
Yeah,
So
not at all.
cool that we're getting it
How
though.
much do I have to pay for this?
Woo.
It's gonna be spicy.
That's a real please look forward to it.
I know. Please look forward to
Start
giving us
saving now.
$200
Yes.
for this game. Yeah, no kidding. Start saving now.
Yes.
Yes. Put like $5 away every week until
Maybe
every day.
The GTA deposit plan.
Yeah, just instead of a swear jar,
Right.
have the GTA jar.
Okay.
Could be both. I
Okay,
don't know.
yeah. Some sad news. Last week was a bad week for games media. Giant Bomb and Polygon, or well, I don't know if we can say that they were shut down, but they are in a very shaky, bad place.
Yeah.
So we can start with Polygon because maybe it's a bit more clear what's happening with them. They got sold to this company called Valnet, and they immediately laid off like the majority of the staff. Why would you do that? If you were buying a media outlet with the intention of continuing to produce content from it, why would you lay off the people who were producing that content? I don't know. But there were a lot of people who had been with Polygon for a really long time who were great, really like amazing at their jobs, and they're just gone. So
sad.
I don't understand what the intention is
Yeah.
for the future of Polygon, but I can't say it looks good.
Yeah, very unfortunate, and just again, I mean, this is a broken record at this point in terms of the shrinkage that we're seeing of games media, and it's just I don't know. I can't say it. I feel like I'm saying the same thing over and over again, which is this is just really unfortunate because it just means that there's less varied opinion out there. And now you're just reliant on like the one conglomerate thing.
Right.
And that just makes it hard. Like that's where you have to form your own opinions or support independent media because it's just you're not gonna get a good perspective anymore. Because these things are gone. You know? These people are gone. Really sad.
I mean this also applies to Giant Bomb, so I mean we should say so they're owned by Fandom. And like mid last week, we started to hear these rumblings of like, oh, something's going on over there, and it's not good. What might be happening? And then we heard like, oh, a lot of the main people left.
Yeah.
And they put out some somewhat vague statements about, we were given this direction from Fandom about things we couldn't do, or there was this discussion of like, are they trying to go PG-13? And Giant Bomb is definitely not a PG-13 entity.
Yeah.
So I think the people there had just like seen enough and, saw the writing on the wall and said, see you later. And who knows, maybe by now by the time this is out, there will be more info about like what actually is happening or what those people are going to be doing next. Like we know that all those people were scheduled to go to PAX East. I haven't heard if they're all still going. Maybe we'll run into them and get the scoop from them.
Buy them a drink.
Sure.
Get the scoop.
Yes.
Yeah.
My goodness. But yeah, I just don't understand how this keeps happening where like some big entity acquires one of these outlets and they either fire everybody immediately or there's this like misaligned understanding of what the thing was in the first place.
Yeah, it's like, why did you want to buy it
Where
then?
it's like, do you not even fundamentally understand what Giant Bomb is and how you implementing these new policies would really
like undercut
kneecap
it. Yeah,
what they have always
exactly.
been about? How do you not know that? I don't understand, but it seems to happen over and over and over.
That's what I'm saying. Broken record. It's extremely frustrating.
And then they put out this tweet, which some people think is AI.
It sounds like AI.
We understand your frustration and appreciate your patience. We're actively exploring creative directions for the future of GB and look forward to sharing more with you soon.
Why do they abbreviate GB?
People said that this long dash, they're like, this is something that AI does.
Oh.
This is not something that a person does. Obviously, this was nobody who actually is involved in Giant Bomb sending this tweet. It's some corporate overlord.
Yeah, exactly.
So I don't know. I mean, I just don't understand how these things can happen for the millionth time.
Yeah, it's just frustrating because it's like history just continues to repeat itself.
Right.
And it becomes like this really, like it becomes like this thing that's like not again, the same thing is happening again. It's like, what can you say? It's just annoying.
Right. I mean, this is why we like there's no question of like, oh, well, are we going to be independent, or if somebody comes knocking on their door with a check, like are we just going to jump on that? It's like no, like there are so few cases of anything like that ever
Actually being
ever
successful?
working out or being
Yes.
a positive,
Yes.
it's like we wouldn't even have the
And
conversation.
it wouldn't even matter if one person was like, I'm
Right.
going to do this, and one person, in our business agreement,
Oh.
there's a clause in there
Oh,
that
wow.
says that both people have to agree.
Turn your keys, ma'am.
That's right. Don't you try to strong arm me now.
What?
Someone come knocking at the door with a check.
You know, I was hanging out at the W Bar in downtown
Oh,
San
you're making
Francisco,
some
and
business
some
deals?
crypto bro had a very interesting proposition for me.
You're rolling up the sleeves of your blazer together or what? No, that won't be that shan't be happening to this empire.
I mean, the good news is, there are avenues for all these people to go
Exactly.
do things independently and be differently. And again, we don't know everything that these people are doing, but just the lack of security, the lack of knowing what happens next is
it's
absolutely
really terrifying.
nerve-wracking and
Yeah.
terrifying for these people. So
And I feel so bad.
we wish them all the best because they're all incredibly talented.
Exactly.
Xbox has raised their prices.
Oh, boy.
Wow. In a pretty big way.
Yeah.
They put out this, hey, when you own Excel, you put out an Excel chart.
It looks
You
like
know?
a pretty
Here it is.
straightforward.
U.S. pricing changes.
Yeah.
So this mostly covers hardware and accessories, but they did also say
Games.
starting later this year, some games are going to be $80. But let's look at some of these prices. Xbox Series S 512. This is what we have. 512 gig. Previously $300. Now it'll be $380. We're getting closer to a big oof here. Xbox Series X Digital, $449 to $549. Series X 2 terabyte Galaxy Black was previously $600. Now will be $729. And pretty much there's a couple things that are not changing, but most everything is going up by some amount.
Yeah.
And it's true that PlayStation has been upping the price in some regions of their hardware, but relatively unprecedented to raise your prices this much, like 5 years in
Like mid-cycle, like
to
truly
a generation.
mid-cycle. Yeah.
Some people have pointed out, like, they're not selling that much hardware to begin with. They have a release valve in Game Pass where it's like, well, you don't like paying $80? Guess what? Subscribe and get the Game Pass.
Yeah.
And also, everything is an Xbox. So, so maybe you don't need to pay $729 to get the Galaxy Black Xbox
my
Series
gosh.
X 2 terabytes.
This toaster is an Xbox.
So, if you were not yet in the Xbox ecosystem, what would you do? Wait until the next generation?
At this point, probably, or do the cloud stuff.
I don't think even the Clair Obscur is not a cloud game.
Right.
So that's kind of a bummer. Like
PC gaming it is.
This is why my point was, like, I think that's an interesting messaging point, but it's not fully baked yet.
Yeah.
So
This is a tough one.
yeah.
I blame Nintendo.
They did not, so in their message, they did not say anything about a tariff being to blame. They were just like, here it
the
is.
new prices.
Here's the Excel chart.
They're letting you make your own conclusions, though.
Right,
They're
right.
letting you jump to your
Because
own
we've seen, like,
conclusions.
it now has become this, like, political thing. If you
Yes.
if you say that a tariff or how you position in relation to a tariff.
It opens yourself up for a can of worms, too.
Exactly.
Because tariffs can go up and down.
Right.
So does that mean the price is going up and down, or what?
Right.
So you can't nail your hat to that. I do feel like this is one of those things where, like, this is just the beginning.
Yeah, it is.
Video games, sorry to say it, is just expensive now. It was expensive to begin with. I mean, this is entertainment. This is not a necessity, as much as we love it. But I just think that that's what it is now. This is the world. This is the world that we live in now, where these things are going to cost more money, and that's what it is.
Are you rejecting humanly wants and desires, like entertainment from video? It sounds like you're.
No. You just have to save up for it now.
Yes.
And not be so, like, cavalier about
Okay.
stuff. Or, like, find a platform that you feel you'll get the most value out of. If that is the case. It just means that if you have always been, like, a consumer of video games, you just have to be more choosy now.
It is harder, especially for people like me, who's like, I like to have all the platforms.
Exactly.
I don't know
If you can
if
buy
I can or even would want to do that.
the 2 terabyte
Especially who
Galaxy
knows
Black.
what Xbox will be in the next generation. I may not even need to do that.
Yeah, you
I
don't
don't know.
know.
I mean, I guess even this generation, like I did go with the Series S. It's like, well,
The lowest end one.
I'm making some trade off, but it's a trade off that I can live with.
Thank goodness we bought it.
Yeah.
We bought it when we did.
How soon until Sony? We're getting. Oh, hey! Remember this? $599 US.
Oh my god.
Now it's
holiday
even more.
time.
Now it's even
holiday
more.
time. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe that's when they
And
raise
the $80
prices.
game is Ghost of Yotei going to be
It's going to be more
$80
than
bucks? You think that's going to be more than $80?
I think it's going to be like
Wow.
a $90 game.
Wow. All right.
This is why I'm so concerned. I'm not concerned. I'm just like I'm waiting for the price to drop on GTA 6.
Oh, drop is the wrong word.
Well, be revealed.
Drop is the wrong
Be
word.
revealed.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that the days of the $60, $50 games is going to be pretty rare now.
Yeah, I mean, they have to realize, like, well, this is kind of where we're going to end up for the rest of this generation. Like, the people who are here with us, great, you're already in, but they have to realize it's going to fall off a cliff in terms of new people from here, unless they really can have some breakthrough in this is an Xbox message that makes it truly ubiquitous.
Yeah, with the cloud stuff.
With almost every game on so many devices that becomes a viable alternative.
Yeah. It's a scary thing to think about, though. Like, that gaming is just going to become so expensive.
Right,
You know?
right.
Yeah.
All right, time for our fake news. So last Friday, there was a whole thing going around about how, hey, Yuji Horii just announced a Chrono Trigger remake. What? And then around the end of the day, people were circling back and saying, well, maybe that's not actually what happened. So it looks like he was at Comic-Con Naples, which is in Italy.
That sounds fun.
And
Can we go to Comic-Con Naples?
He was getting interviewed during a stage event, and they asked. So there's varying like video content of this out there.
Yeah.
And the person was asking him a series of questions about Chrono Trigger and kind of seemed to be trying to like push him towards like saying something of note about it. And he was deflecting. And then the translator kind of came out and said what seemed to be a confirmation. It's like, oh, and there's a remake that's happening. And that got people worked up. But then people went back and checked kind of what he had said in Japanese. And it sounds like that does not match what the translator was saying.
Agent of Chaos?
And I don't know Japanese, so I don't know exactly that. But that seems to be where this has landed.
It sort of had a bit of a moment because there was this photo that was going around where the translator is like whispering in Horii-san's ear.
Yeah.
And it looked suspicious. It looked like he may have had like a moment of like whoopsie.
Yeah.
But maybe that wasn't the case
Yeah.
because maybe he didn't say anything at all.
We don't know who this translator is. I don't know if this is somebody who works with Square Enix or somebody who they brought in just for this project. But this is why at Nintendo, like these high-profile developers have like dedicated long-term translators from the treehouse, where it's like, no, you know how this guy talks, you know what projects he's associated with, so this kind of thing cannot happen.
Yeah, you wouldn't have this kind of misunderstanding.
Right. Like we have seen that at some events, like when we when we did that thing for Nintendo Minute with Suda51. Like he had a translator who was very good, but he was like, yeah, I've not done a project with him before, so I'm kind of feeling him out. And you can kind of tell, like, there is a synergy between a translator. That's why, like, Bill Trent and Mr. Miyamoto, like, they were so good. Because, like, they knew each other, like, on the level.
Right.
Or
Rob and Mr. Aonuma.
Exactly. Whereas, like, for these kind of first couple times, like, there can be some back and forth. Like, wait, what did you... say that again? Or, like, what did you mean by this? That can lead to something like this. So it's kind of a cautionary tale.
It's definitely a cautionary tale. And especially with these kinds of, like, stage events where you are, in front of an audience, you're live, like, things can go off script. Is not like a video that you can edit out, or an interview you can tell somebody in a small setting like, hey, please don't, let me rephrase that or clarify this. You don't really get the opportunity to do that when people in the audience are hearing you.
They're never going to let Yuji Horii out of that castle he's locked in now.
Back in the castle.
After this.
Yes, back in the castle. Oh, Yuji Horii.
Now, after all this, I do still think that this remake is something that... I don't
possible.
It could be real. I don't know.
I'm pretty excited about it if it is.
It's a big anniversary coming up for Chrono Trigger.
35, right?
Seems like there's a lot of things that they could do around that. Now they know that there was a lot of people were excited when we said or didn't say that a
Chrono Trigger
remake
remake on Switch
was happening.
Give it to us. Give it to me.
Sounds cool.
I would play it.
Check out our Chrono Trigger spoiler.
I would play it.
Wow.
I would play it.
All right, that's enough news.
Wow.
Questions? We get all of our questions from our Patreon community. Check us out at patreon.com/KitandKrysta. Let's start with a question from Baby Chris. With Nintendo Switch 2 coming out and how NSO expansion pack has Sega Genesis, do you think Sega and Nintendo would add Dreamcast to this edition? Dreamcast has been getting more of a following, and depending on what games they add could really show the value of NSO expansion pack. What are your thoughts on this, and is this in the realm of possibility? Thanks.
Dreamcast. Licensing, like, legal stuff.
You got the
around.
Genesis?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's not impossible, I don't think.
You seem to have nothing to say on this.
I just feel like it's like one of those things, like, is it worth it to them to negotiate these contracts to do this? Is there enough content for them to do that? I mean, that would be interesting because there's a lot of Dreamcast stuff that is just very difficult for you to play these days. But yeah, is it worth it to Nintendo to do the legwork to get those licenses through? Would be the question that I would have.
I've heard varying things about, like, did the Sega relationship, like, did that end up being beneficial to everybody? And then, more recently, Sega's had this big push to do their own thing with their retro games. So I don't know if they have their own aspirations for Dreamcast content that are maybe more in-depth than just dropping it on somebody else's platform like this. At least we know now with GameCube, like, yeah, we can handle big technologically challenging games. Whereas, previously we were both like, I don't know, that might be going too far. They might draw the line there. But now it's like we know we can do that. It becomes more of a, are both parties interested in doing this? I do think, I think this would be great, though, because the Dreamcast has become kind of a lost console. And it doesn't have a big library, but if you're talking about, like, oh, this is going to be 12 to 15 games on an NSO tab, that could be awesome.
Pretty cool. I do wonder if, like, Sega has the same thought process around Dreamcast as we were thinking Nintendo was having with GameCube, where it's like, is it worth it to us to just have these games come out in its retro form, or do we remake these games?
Yeah, they do have that big initiative that we've started to hear about, and I think, like, Crazy Taxi, some of those games were part of that. So that's a fair question. I think also, Nintendo's looking for, if we're going to do this, how is it going to drive adoption of NSO? The downside to that is, like, Dreamcast is like a Wii U level flop on a ended Sega in hardware, so it's not the big, it doesn't have the value of, like, flashy. Oh my gosh, Sega Genesis, I know that, everybody knows that, wow. And they can rattle off, like, 10 Sega Genesis games they would love to get. Like, might be harder to get people to rattle off Dreamcast games, even if it is like super high quality.
Right.
This next is a two-parter about Mario Maker from Riven and Ninja 11. So let's start with Riven's question, which is, why didn't Mario Maker 2 take off nearly as well as Mario Maker 1? And then Ninja 11's question is, do you think we see Mario Maker 3 or an update to Mario Maker 2 with mouse support? These mice controls are practically begging to be used to make some Mario levels, and after Wonder, they have a lot of new enemies and items that can be added.
Give me an Elephant Mario. And
So
Mario
let's start.
Maker 3.
Let's start with Riven's question. Why didn't Mario Maker 2 work that well?
It really was because of the touch screen, I feel like. Something about the gamepad for the Wii U made it like the perfect way to play Mario Maker 1. And there was something to the ease of that, the really, like, how the control scheme worked perfectly with that kind of game. And also it was very novel. Mario Maker 1, obviously, like, first time you can do something like that, had like that novel factor to it. So yeah, I think that's why it didn't take off really on the Switch.
Yeah, I think there's a couple factors. I think that's probably the most obvious one, which is like there was just something great about the tactile nature of doing it on the gamepad. That was probably like the best Wii U implementation. And then especially, like, you could kind of do that in handheld mode. Like, we both bought, like, styluses, special styluses. I still
have mine.
But, not everybody has that. Like, if you're using your finger, it's not quite as precise.
Yes.
And then if you're in TV mode, it was pretty
It's clunky.
It was a little clunky, and you had to remember a lot of like button combinations to do it. So it was harder to make. And then the kind of in-game tools for sharing levels didn't work very well.
Yeah.
Like it was hard to find, like without somebody just giving you a code.
Right.
The game did not surface the best and most interesting levels.
Yeah. The in-game like algorithm was like bad.
Yeah, and like the online in that game in general, like remember that game had multiplayer, like 4-player multiplayer, but it was super like
it was like laggy,
super laggy, just like this is a really missed opportunity. And then lastly, like when Mario Maker 1 came out, like there was a big push all around Nintendo of like, all right, we're gonna push this element of like finding levels, discovering levels. I remember like all of us, we were just like grinding through levels like, we had like a committee like, surface put this on a website. All right, Nintendo Minute, we're gonna do this one. Oh, this one's gonna go on social media. Like there was not that big push in Mario Maker 2. And if there even was a push, it was much shorter. It was like for 2 weeks or something. And it's like, we got to move on to the next thing.
Yeah.
So that like mechanism of helping people find and stay engaged with cool levels just was not there.
You really would have thought that they would have made that mechanism in the game.
Yes.
For you to have good discoverability.
It's such a bummer.
It really was. It really fell off a cliff because
man.
no one could discover fun levels, and so it really de-incentivized people from making them.
Right.
So it was really unfortunate. Yeah.
Would you rather have like a Mario Wonder palette in a future Mario Maker, or just enhancing kind of the more retro Marios that we already have?
I think it would be great to have like an update to Mario Maker 2 to fix some of these issues. Maybe there is a better way for you to use the Switch 2 gamepad or the mouse as a control scheme. Maybe there is more that they can put in terms of online functionality and discoverability. So I don't think we need another Mario Maker game, brand new.
What?
I think having an enhanced version or like an updated version of Mario Maker 2. Mario Maker 2 Deluxe.
No. Give me Mario Maker 3. Let's start over.
I'll start over.
Mouse first. Mouse forward. We're leading with the mouse. And yeah, I mean, the Wonder Pack could be interesting, but it's like, well, the Wonder Seeds, like how would they implement that?
Oh, the talking flower.
Would you have like some amount of pre-made Wonder effects? I don't know, it seems hard. Because those were all like, every level has a different...
Make your own Wonder effects.
That seems really hard to do.
Give you like some sort of options to choose from, though.
Maybe. Yeah.
It's possible. I think it's possible.
I got a little turned off that like a lot of Mario Maker became like these super like puzzle heavy, like, well, you got to find this key, and then it's like this isn't really Mario. Like it became something a little bit different versus, I don't know, I would always try to make something that would fit into like a Mario game, which would always surprise you. Like, this is a lot simpler than...
It's a lot shorter than you think it is.
It's like, is there enough here? And it's like, no, this is actually what these Mario levels are like. But obviously, like...
Nowadays...
When they give you all these tools, it's like, well, watch me. Watch this. I'm going to town on this.
I don't like the auto-scroll levels either. Like the auto-run levels.
Right.
I know it's a lot for somebody to put that together, but I would like to play the game.
Oh,
I like to play the level that you made.
Even when they had like a cool like musical, like, oh, it's going to play this song. Like, it became like a Rube Goldberg machine.
Exactly. Like, let me play your level.
And then there's the levels that are intended to be like super hard. I put those in a different category. Like, I appreciate that those exist.
That's the Chris Slate levels.
I don't particularly have the best time trying to do those.
I would just like to say that Mr. Tezuka liked my level, so...
He liked both of our levels.
I'm gonna rest easy.
What's that supposed to mean?
I'm just.
Why are you suggesting that he didn't like mine?
I didn't say anything of the sort.
Maybe you should have.
What? This is like your.
We're here together, and we were both with him. We showed him both of our levels.
I think you really liked mine, like a lot more.
You think? But what do you actually know?
Next
question is from Cerulean Dragon. Hey, you two, back when you left Nintendo, what at the time unreleased titles were you aware of due to them being in progress at the time you left? What was the last game to release that you had an NDA for? When could you truly start to be surprised and delighted? Remember there was a Nintendo Direct relatively soon after.
I think I checked myself out of that.
And that was kind of the last big thing where it's like, yeah, we know pretty much what's in this. So we didn't do any sort of reaction or anything to it because it's like,
I kind of didn't know, but I also...
You knew some of the stuff.
I did know some of the stuff. Yeah, I remember that. It was early in the days of this channel, and we specifically did not do a reaction to that Nintendo Direct because
it would not be honest.
It would not be honest. And also, I think I might have known it a little bit. I think I told people, like, can you guys stop telling me stuff? Because I don't want to know.
Yeah.
I want to stop knowing.
Right.
I want to be surprised.
Right.
Yeah, so that Direct would definitely...
Yeah, so you might be surprised, like, how soon, like, there were things that were happening that we didn't, it was within, like, a matter of months. Of like, oh, yeah, I didn't know about this, or oh, that's new. And then, obviously, like, Zelda took forever to come out.
Yeah.
There are still some things where it's like, oh, we heard they might do this or might not do this, that we've got in the back of our mind of like, is this thing going to happen or not? We never know, but
yeah, that's true.
You won't hear it from us.
Nope.
Pow!
The ninjas are coming.
They kicked through the door. Oh, no. Last question is from Phantom Cookie. While this is purely speculation at the moment, it certainly looks like the Switch 2 is going to be off to a strong start in Japan, while a variety of factors mean it may not do nearly as well as it could have done in America. While I expect it to still be very unlikely, I do wonder what the implications would be if the Switch 2 became enormously successful in Japan but flopped in the West. How would you expect Nintendo to restructure itself? Would games that have more appeal in Western audiences take less of a priority? How would Nintendo cater to a Japan-centric consumer base in this scenario? This is an interesting question. Mm-hmm. So the question here is, what if it's a flop? But even like, what if it's a big success in America, but Japan is just like off the charts? Like, we have never seen
this
demand.
kind of like unprecedented
exactly.
demand.
Like, what if that situation happens also?
Yeah.
What happens?
I mean, I wouldn't say that Nintendo right now is really catering to the U.S. audience at all in terms of games. Like, I think...
They try to have a global
They try to have a very global mindset. And they still really maintain that, like, Japanese, culture in terms of a lot of the business decisions they make and the way that they handle development and all that stuff. So I wouldn't say that it would be maybe, like, the biggest change. I can see them, making it a little bit more challenging for the U.S. teams to, like, do simple things like get allocation or whatever. And it just might be one of those things where it becomes an even more like NCL, the Japan parent company, like led kind of, company overall, where it's like we're really making all the decisions.
Yeah.
Like you basically have no say. Doug Bowser, take a seat in the corner. Like, you have no say in any of this stuff anymore because we are not only your parent company, but we have the market share now in terms of, the consumer base because it's like a huge thing in Japan.
I'm the captain now.
I was the captain before, but I'm definitely the captain now. Now, any sort of leverage you thought you had is completely out the window. So that just might be the case.
It would definitely be... in terms of, they already have great support amongst Japanese developers, but it would be an even bigger, for any holdouts who are not yet making a game for the Switch, it's like, oh, we really do need to get this thing for making something that, has a Japanese feel to it or is maybe, first for the Japanese market from a third-party perspective. We talked about earlier of like, would they redirect units to Japan? It's hard to tell like how much of an impact that would be just because like the population of the US or overall Europe compared to like the population of Japan.
It's just pure numbers.
Right. It's like, the demand can be, 200% higher in Japan, but, 200% higher of a number in Japan is lower than a number in the US or overall.
0 times 0 is still 0?
Europe. Multiply by 3. There's your...
0.
So it is an interesting thought experiment, though, because they're always having those conversations of like, all right, we've got our next shipment. What are we, how are we going to allocate that? And everybody's got their chart of like, I'm going to give you my presentation about why the U.S. should get this allocation, or here's why we need this much, or... Right, that's always how it goes, and I think that's something that Reggie was especially great at.
Oh, he was so good at that.
Of selling in, like, no, we need to get this.
He never loses the fight.
No.
Everyone was scared of him.
He's gonna win.
He's gonna win.
He's gonna win.
Be like, pow, I got this.
And I mean, he was good at it, but I think he also had very compelling
strategies.
Arguments.
And arguments, yes.
But again, if it's a case where it's like, maybe there's a bit of softness, like, I don't know, that becomes an interesting conversation.
It's true. That's what I'm saying. All the leverage that you thought you had, but never really did. It's just completely gone. Like they're gonna, and people are competitive in the office. Like there was always this sort of like sense of competition too between the regions, and even in Japan there was competition, and there was a lot of lectures about in Japan ... This is the way we do things. And I just feel
Europe
like...
has sold massive amounts of Professor Layton. What are you going to do about it?
And then we were like, oh no!
Do we care? I mean, we sold like 15 million copies of some other game.
They're like, no, you lost on Professor Layton.
You need to focus on Professor Layton.
Yeah, exactly. So there was a lot of competition in that way and between the different regions, and I can hear the gloating already. If there's a market that does significantly better than one of the other markets,
yes.
Oh, you'll never live it down. You just never live it down. Wow.
Meet me in the dark alley after the global business meeting.
The GBM.
I'll have the ski mask on.
GBM.
Thank you to everybody who sent in a question. Don't forget to subscribe at patreon.com/Kit and Krysta. Get the early access to these episodes. Get all the exclusive content. Get the Claire Obscure spoiler cast and all the other ones to come.
So much exclusive.
When you subscribe, you don't just get that thing. You get it.
The historical.
That's a whole month's access. You get everything.
You can really dive in.
Go to town while you wait for this Switch 2.
Listen to 150 bonus Q&As.
If you can do that before the Switch 2 comes out, you'll get a pat on the back from us. Wow.
There's some people that can follow all the content. I'm like, how are you doing this?
They're talented.
2 times X, the speed.
There we go.
We're on the socials. We're on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, Blue Sky, and Threads.
And if you're watching this on video on YouTube, you can please subscribe, give this video a thumbs up, and leave us a comment. And if you're one of our great audio listeners like Spotify or Apple Podcasts, you can also subscribe, give this podcast a 5-star rating, and leave a written review, if you please.
Past 93,000 subs, guys. Please subscribe. Juice the numbers. Juice it.
The road to 100K.
It's coming.
Wow.
We're on the road.
It's exciting.
We're walking down that road. Not running, walking. Okay, time to shout out some wonderful Patreon community members, starting with Fundaballs, Aaron Hash.
Shout out to Aaron Hash.
I asked Aaron Hash this morning if he was excited about GTA 6.
Who isn't?
Car guy. I don't know. I was wondering because there were some people in our community that was like, meh.
Oh, sure.
I was like, where's the excitement, guys? Where's the excitement?
Focused on Switch 2? Jeez.
Where's the excitement? Room in your heart for more than just one thing.
All right.
All right, superstars. Ben Eichhorn.
Maru Mayhem.
Eigen Verse.
Kiss My Flapjack.
Mike Chin.
Roy Eschke.
Switching it up _
VGM Life.
Link the Hero Wins.
Angela Bycroft.
Thomas O'Rourke.
Kyle LaBeouf.
Roberto Nieves.
Frederick Ulf Conradson.
Andrew Uhas.
Chili.
Simon.
Crashuri.
Master Discord.
Ash.
Ajay Kunlas.
40 Gig.
Travis Torline.
Echo Ladare.
That's so Linnell.
MSM Poke Gamer.
Cameron.
R. Burns.
Igami.
And Kit 10K. I'm so glad I get to say that one.
Oh, Kit 10K. Yes. One Up Club. Aaron Burgundy.
Ale Alejandro.
Allie.
Andy Peachy.
Andy Robinson.
Angelade.
Aristu.
Astra Dev.
Awesome 46.
Axel.
Bad at Smash.
Barnstorm.
Bates.
Benji B.
Big and Gamer with a Y.
Brad SF56.
Brandon Kavapel.
Brent Dennison.
Brian Decker.
Brovac Novak.
Bruce Dash.
Bucky Flores.
Call Sign Forte.
Cashew.
Shadir.
Chelly Squirrel.
Chris Fisher.
Crispy Saurus.
Christopher Lay.
Cosmic Titan 718.
Captain Alex.
Sea Roper 17.
Dag DeLeo.
Dallas E.
Dawson.
Delving with Differ.
DVP.
Doinko.
Dre.
Eccentric Tony.
Elite Peach.
Aspars 50.
Furbound.
Fernie and Just Forever.
Fox Deploy.
Gamers Likes Anime.
Garf the Wolf.
Gartooth.
Jin Wolf.
Guilty Phoenix 42.
Handheld Gamer.
Happy Sloth.
I may have made a mistake.
Iris Merritt.
It's your boy, Jay Hovick. Oh, Jay Hov.
Jay Random.
Jameson Eisenberg.
Jason Ball 34.
Joe Encarnacion.
Jonathan Rowe.
Jordan Hemmerly.
Joshua Clements.
Juji Fruit.
Justin Lemminger.
Jay Wolf.
Colin CPU 57.
Kawa 2796.
Kevin Delane.
Kevin Lamoreno.
Kilo Kibo.
Clef Key to My Heart. Oh, Clef Key to My Heart. Sorry.
Christopia Party with me.
KS 3261.
Kyle Gamer Berry Rookie.
Kyle 325.
Kyle Kretzer.
Kyle R. Smith.
Lazy Cat for Coffee.
Leah Rao.
Lex.
Lightwood.
Link 9898.
Lil Mikey.
Linko.
Lit.
Lucas Pico.
Luke Hayabusa.
Luna B.
Lynn.
Macho Potato.
Mad Dog 5981.
Magnificent Easy G and Callie Marie.
Mario Man 329.
Mark S.
Marky Man 64.
Maverick Nate.
Mecha Dragon 101.
Megan.
May Plus Leon.
Michael Mazer.
Michael O'Hara.
Michael Wong.
Mikey.
Mr. Ryan 07.
Motomania.
Mr. Andy Palm.
Mr. Beans and Dip.
Mytran.
Nasir.
Naif E.
Negbia Reeves.
Nintendo 64.
Ninja 11.
Noah Sung.
Omega Index Card.
Bangy.
Paper Boat.
Patrice Millette.
Paul.
Paul Gale Network.
Poke Digifan 20.
Prime Factor.
Prince Charmless.
Punky.
Rain Tech.
Rob M.
Robbo.
Romsky 113.
Rocks.
Rusty Shackelford.
Ryan Haas.
Ranetta.
Sage Gamer.
Sebastiano Garase.
Sharif Jackson.
Shinryu.
Shiny Elizabeth.
Slowbro.
Schmiggles.
Snazza.
Spacey Poo.
Spicy Munchkin.
Steel Citrone.
Stephen Johnson.
Stephen Rockoff.
Pseudo Priest.
Symbiote Spidey.
Tales of a Link.
Tandem.
Tay 120 and 64.
Teal Fox 64.
The Keggers.
The Quiet One.
The Sarah OT.
The Sharkama Men.
The Schmidt one.
The T-Man.
Thomas Alvarez.
Three Rivers.
Torcheeks.
Totally Joed.
Todamaro.
Trajawi.
Tugs Puppy Bear.
Tuscoop.
Tylander 16.
Tyler Geis.
Vidgmictor.
Viridian.
Virtualbot.
WG Grizzy.
Wicked Davy.
Zachary S.
Zelgaroth.
Zapatty.
Zero Link.
And Zroid. I like the.
Huh?
There's a lot of thes.
Yeah.
The Keggers. The Quiet One. Blah, 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 blah. The Kid Alice.
The real Kitten Krysta.
Oh, the real
Yeah.
kid.
The real.
Is that
not the fake.
Is that the thing on Discord?
Yeah.
That we have to be that weird thing? Okay.
I actually think that was my Fortnite name. The real Keto-san. That was me.
Because Kito-san was taken.
Yeah, somebody got that before me.
Underscore.
It's a popular game.
You need an
Underscore.
Sometimes you need an underscore.
Underscore.
That's what the celebrities have to do. All right. That is all for this week's podcast.
Off to Boston we go.
Yes. See you later.
Bye.